let's get started. Let's take away the dancing boomers. There they go. Let's take away Rogi, as cute as she is. And then let's pop this guy open. Here we are in DCSS land. Again, sorry to anybody whose ears got popped by my loud microphone. Hopefully that continues to be working properly now. Cat pics or Riot. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll go back to having Rogi streams. I don't know, I tried to do streams of her when she was a baby and she just kind of sat there inside of her cage and hid, so it was like, what a waste. What a sad kitty. Alright, I am going to walk around with this falchion on for the most part. I'm going to press equals actually, and then I changed the key over to B for the falchion, because that's my, you can call it willpower if you want to. I'm going to keep calling it magic resistance. Basically, whoops. If I press shift and 5, I get the percentage. I can see my character here and see my resistances. I have 3 pips of willpower. Fucking willpower of magic resistance. That's a good place to be, although we're still susceptible to paralysis from a lot of things. It's something that I like to minimize as much as possible. I feel like that's the #1 way to easily lose a character, even if you're being really careful. And so it's best to be immune, if you can. So that is something that you can search for items with particular brands on them. Oops. What did I just do? Did I just... What the fuck is going on here? Does this look different? Hold on one second. Super professional streamer here. I need to make sure that I didn't just put this to a different size. Okay, yeah, this is fine. Alright. Anyway, right. So you can control F and search for things that have spawned, and you know, it's really good to search for resistances if you're missing them, but especially in the case of magic resistance. You know, I can walk around without RC+, resist cold, and probably be okay. You know, it's nice to have it if you can, but most things aren't going to do a ton of cold damage to me. And, you know, in fact, I'm carrying around the Staff of Cold to swap to it, you know, if needs be. So it's just a matter of deciding which item, you know, to have on all of the time that you're most likely to get some benefit out of. And that's also why I'm willing to forego a bit of armor class in order to have willpower or magic resistance on my robe. Anywho, if we press Control O, we can see the dungeon overview. We can see that we have cleared the lair and sadly not gotten much out of it. If I do if I do !/M to search up monsters and I do Orc Sorcerer, I see that we have a 2% chance of being paralyzed by him. So if possible, I kind of would like to avoid going into... I kind of would like to avoid going into Orc if I can. If you guys recall, we're kind of transitioning into being like a pure blaster conjurations type guy. I'm currently training some spellcasting up to 10. I'm being a little bit more fast and loose with my skilling now. You'll notice I'm not really doing the 1x1 leapfrogging anymore. We took conjurations like all the way to 15, which I'm totally cool with. Our goal at this point is to get Orb of Destruction online, because that is a very nice single target spell which can kill just about anything in the game, almost anything. Probably want to be careful if something has a shield of reflection. Maybe don't use it against that, because they'll bounce back and hit you. But yeah, this thing will take out orbs of fire for you if you've got a nice open space to use them in. So yeah, this does a lot of damage. So we could go into Swamp if we wanted to. We could go into Snake Pit. We could probably make it work with Petrify. I'd really rather not get shafted if I can. I'm thinking I'm going to roll the bones. I hit Control G for fast travel, and then I press D, and then I just pressed Enter. That takes me to the closest part of the dungeon that I can get to. We are gonna go down. I don't know if we're gonna finish the dungeon, By the way, every so often I like to do Control F arty to look for artifacts, see if any particularly good items that I've missed are around, because it's easy to forget about things. Or if I'm missing a slot, I'll do like Control F boots, you know? I don't think you can search for ox. Maybe you can. Ox slots. Alright, let's just go down. Alright. So we got a basilisk here as a gargoyle. We're immune, so we're just gonna stone arrow his ass to death. Found a scroll. I am casting past these dudes. Oh, hello, Deep Elf Pyromancer. A little bit of fire magic here. Let's go ahead and make our... Okay, so I want to show you what I did. I did it a little quickly, so I'm going to kind of review. He was here, right, where I put this exclusion. I'm making that with Shift X E. He was right here. I was here. We could see him, but we knew that if we moved here, we wouldn't be able to see that slot. Or excuse me, that tile. So I moved out of his line of sight. He was sleeping at the time, but he could have woken up. And that's when I took the time to make the the battle sphere here. So I prepped up basically for the fight, and now he's in range of the stone arrow. We're gonna cast it, and the battle sphere is gonna barrage him, and he's just gonna have a really hard time. Goodbye, Mr. Elf, low HP elf. Hello, Cyclops. Now this is dangerous for most characters, but especially for a low HP caster. Gargoyles are a low HP race. He can do 35 damage with his big boy unarmed attack. But what the game neglects to tell you is that, here, he has large rocks. Let's do !/I for item, large rock. Base damage of... The fuck? It doesn't tell you? Well, it's 20, I'm pretty sure. Why would it not tell you? Oh my lord, that's lame. Anyway, he can do 55 damage to me per hit, so less considering my GDR, my guaranteed damage resistance from reduction from having AC, but nevertheless, we still want to be careful here. Let's try to petrify him. He resisted. Now, we may end up having to use like some kind of temporary, what do you call it? Consumables. But it looks like this finally succeeded, so we're going to take a step to get us out of his line of sight. We're going to put on our Dagger of Speed. We're going to wait like 2 turns and walk up, and now we're just going to stab him. And down he goes. And then we're going to put the magic resistance falchion back on, because we could run in, at any moment, we could run into somebody like Irolcha. She's still around, right? With her banish. We really don't want to be banished to the abyss, so having magic resistance is nice. That is a red, ugly thing. That is spooky enough that I'm going to call a dog, call an imp, call the battle sphere, step forward, step forward. Okay, I'm not too worried. He does 17 plus 24 fire damage. We have fire resistance, but he does attack quickly. Well, he moves quickly. So running away from him is like super duper not an option. We have fire resistance, so he can only actually do 12 fire, but that's still quite a bit. That's 12 plus 17 is 29 damage. But if he doesn't change his color, we should be okay. We got a lot of damage output here, so we'll just take him down. That is an enemy that can ruin your game really, really quickly. Ugly things in the early dungeon. Yeah, I know. It's like bigoted against ugly people, perhaps. And considering who the crawl devs are, I mean, you'd think they would be personally offended. Oh! Anyway, I'm going to press R for read. I'm going to read right off the ground by pressing comma, and I guess they added another click here, so I'll just press enter. I'm reading the scroll of identify. I'm reading it on the scrolls of fog, apparently. Fog's really useful. Brave, yeah, they should call them brave, beautiful things. You know, my god, I might just drop this demon whip. I have a lot of things in my inventory. I'm carrying way more shit than I need to be. Let's drop the boomerangs. We'll keep the javelins quivered, I guess. I'd like to have at least 1 slot open. I also need to remember that I have that curare, because that's really handy. We may even want to train some throwing. Just because you're a caster doesn't mean that you... Oh shit, let's back away from this stuff. So for those of you who don't know, these guys are only speed 10, which is as fast as I am, but they can merge and do incredible damage. So they have kind of a funny mechanic to them. They do 22 each, but then that doubles if they merge, and then they can merge again and get another 22 added, and eventually they're like Titanic size and doing 100 damage, which obviously you don't want. But if you fight them in a hallway and you've got range on them, you can kind of sort of juke backwards, and as soon as you're off the screen, let's put on the Staff of Cold, because he's a white ugly thing, which means he will do cold damage. But yeah, as soon as you're off the screen, the green slimes, 36 cold damage. Whew. There we go. I just kind of stone arrowed him to death. But you notice how I wore my Staff of Cold in advance, just in case things went poorly. It's kind of that's the kind of bets hedging that you need to be doing, not just on a caster, but on any character. But you know, everything that I say in terms of safety on a non-caster goes like 5 times on a caster, because your HP is gonna be lower. We may end up having to blink out of here if this goes poorly. Okay, good. He's being petrified. I'm gonna actually go forward and then wear my dagger and then stab him to death. That could have gone more poorly for sure. I kind of wish I could have my intelligence +3 spear on Joe Rockgun. Sometimes I call my cat Joe Rogie. Kiku, that would have been a fun altar to find on like D2. Could have shown off hot swapping to, or like perma swapping to necromancy. Okay, unless they've changed something, these silly new darts that apply blindness and confusion really don't work well if you don't have throwing, so I'm not even going to bother to pick them up. Especially not at this point in the game. Let's go down. Alright, this is where we gotta be really careful. First of all, there's a book. It's got static discharge and irradiate in it. Irradiate got nerfed, but it's probably still pretty good. Static discharge we wouldn't be using. You can tell what books do before even picking them up by going to map mode with Shift X and then pressing V on the book itself. Can be useful. Anyway, we see like a top tier threat here in the form of this wizard who can cast Banish on us. We're going to take a step down and to the left to get to this upstairs. We really don't want to be banished, so we're going to go up. I know it's like a 2% chance, but you've got to treat that like a 200% chance if you don't want to lose your game in a stupid way. Hello, Mr. Centaur Warrior. I've started petrifying him. Nice. So you know, if you need to know, like, should I be using a hex? I call them hexes. It's not necessarily the hex school. Anything that targets the enemy's magic resistance or willpower is generally colloquially referred to as hex in this game. If you need to know if it's going to work, you just kind of, you know, if I press Z and D, which is where my petrify is, it'll tell you what the chance to affect them is. In this case, 0%. Or I can XV over to the guy, that is X, and then arrow over and then press V. And we can actually see that he has 4 pips of willpower or magic resistance, which is a lot. This dude can do a ton of damage. We're going to step away. We're going to go ahead and make... We made a battle sphere and then we kind of ran away from him. So now if he tries to do shenanigans to us, he's going to have to hit my battle sphere first. We use a defensive illusion. He makes copies of himself. Okay, we killed a copy, not the real deal. Dang. We'll make another one. Gonna use Magic Dart. Got him. That is a reasonably tough enemy to be showing up at this point, and honestly, you know, I'm kind of drinking whiskey playing risky here by even being down here now, on a floor with something that can banish me. Why don't we just leave, and not come back until we've leveled up a bit? I think I'm actually going to try my luck, and we're just going to take a look at the first floor of Orc. So I did Control G, and then O, and then Enter. Oh, Lord. And of course, there is an Orc Sorcerer right here who can paralyze me. He's asleep, thankfully. Hey, we could throw Curare at him or something, but fuck this. Let's just go up. I'll go to Snake Pit. Let's do Snake Pit. You know, the basic math is like, alright, what's the place that's less, you know, that's least likely to screw me over? And that just depends on your defenses and how well you can take down enemies that are in this particular branch. And in this case, I'm not worried about Snake Pit because I have resist electricity for the big snake electric snake guys. I have immunity to poison, so any poisons in here aren't going to do jack to me. I have resist fire for the salamander dudes. If I get constricted, that's a pain because of my low HP, but I have pretty good AC, and I think we have the tools to deal with these problems, and a lot of things have low MR in here, so for the first time ever, I'm going to find myself complimenting new tiles. I think this looks great. Is this how Snake used to look? I feel like this looks entirely new. This actually looks pretty good. Credit where credit is due. I won't always trash talk mainline. When they actually do something correctly, I'll give it a thumbs up. A potion of magic and a more wand charges for disintegrate. Couple vulnerabilities. That's actually really good to see. Vulnerability halves the magic resistance of anything on the screen, including you. So we can use it to force things to get petrified. We're out of inventory space again. I think I'm going to drop my noise scrolls. There's funny things you can do with them, but eh. Not real interested. How in the hell have we not run into any enemies yet? I'm spooked, guys. Fuck it, I'm gonna press O. Here we go, the Naga shouts. Shouts. Seems like he doesn't really have a pack around him. Okay, we've petrified him. Hey, there's a salamander. So these fellas can hit you and deal extra fire damage to you, so they also tend to have ranged attacks, so let's just like, we turned a corner, we walked backwards and turned a corner and made him come to us so he would be in range of my stone arrows. I had to step up here because I needed to make space for my battle sphere to fire. That's a lot of stuff. Mana Vipers are really dangerous. They can drain magic. They have really good magic resistance. I feel like in the past I mostly just tried to kill them at range before they caused me a problem. Oh boy, that is an anaconda. Wow, Mamba killed the battle sphere. Okay. All right, this is a good time to charm this Mamba. You know what I should have done, and what I still could do? I think it's time to get Fireball online. That would really help here. I think it's time to be a Fireball guy, just for the time being. I had wanted to go straight for Orb of Destruction, but you know what? That's hubris. Let's be a real man and get Fireball online. This is getting a little silly. So I'm swapping to... Shit. I think we're going to have to use Telly. I'm going to use Telly. I hate to waste a Telly this early, but we'll see how we're already getting constricted. So we've started the Telly. Now he starts to get petrified. Oh, come on, it's awesome, isn't it? Okay, we teleported into a really obnoxious place, not really where we want it to be. That does happen sometimes. I'm just going to use some of my wands. My mana's all gone, so we're going to charm this guy. Jeez. Well, we have a friend now, at least. Here we go. Intelligence, we've leveled up. Can we just take this dude down with Wand of Flame? Let's find out. I know that there's a Anaconda coming. Can I charm the Anaconda? 41%. Nope. Okay, I'm burning Telly again. A little bit of resource use happening here. My EV gets completely shot when I'm constricted like this. I wonder if they can get attacks of opportunity while you're being constricted. What a nightmare that would be. Alright, we're going to memorize Fireball. We're going to put that on letter B, equals to adjust S for spells, and I'm just moving Fireball over to B. And in fact, you know what? I don't like Pass Fall. We're going to read Amnesia and free up those slots, taking the slots away. This works in, what do they call that? Vancian spellcasting, where you have a certain number of spell levels, and then you use Amnesia to forget the spell, and now you've freed up the spell levels. So we have 9 spell levels left. Could go ahead and memorize Orb of Destruction if we wanted to. Take Fireball, Fire Magic to 5. I tried to take that guy down just by a regular stab. It almost worked. Okay, Naga warriors are something you do need to be careful of in here. They just have a lot of AC. They tend to have shields. This particular one doesn't, but they also have decent magic resistance, so trying to do Petrify or anything like that on them is unlikely to work. Okay, we've already gotten Fireball to 7%. Remember how I said the things that you haven't trained much are going to go up very quickly, very cheaply? Well, we had zero fire magic to start with, so we're already up to 2 within killing like 2 NPCs. So we dropped from like 11% fail rate to 7% fail rate by taking down like 1 Naga. Pretty good stuff. And we're already doing almost as much damage as our Stone Arrow, but it's fire damage, and more importantly, it's an AoE. Okay, that's a Sentinel's mark. We're marked. Oh, hi, Mark. Okay, the Anaconda has bad MR, so we're able to just kind of melee him down after petrifying him very, very easily. much more easily than when he had a pack of dudes around him. That mark came pretty late in the game. If you're marked, that means that everything on the floor, pretty much everything on the floor is going to come to you and really ruin your day. So you don't want that to happen. You generally want to get the hell off the floor and somewhere with no enemies on it. If you can. That's from those alarm traps that you can see when I search for what's on this floor with Control F dot. Again, doubly true for a caster than for a melee character because you're probably going to be a little bit squishy comparatively. Still walking around shoeless, what a shame. We also still haven't used any god abilities, but we'll get around to it. Believe me, we'll get around to it. Okay, this is that enemy I was talking about that you need to be ultra mega careful of. We finished Lair yesterday, or a couple days ago, in the last session. I checked out Orc, and there was an Orc Sorcerer right there at the, sleeping at the entrance. So I decided to just do this. There was a wizard in the dungeon. I didn't want to deal with Banish. So we're just taking... I feel confident about our ability to take down snakes, so I'm just not... I just don't mess around with big MR threats like that. Anyway, this dude can bounce. So if you're in a hallway or something and there's a wall right behind you, and he hits you with that bolt, it can kind of bounce and hit you again. So 3d13 is no joke. It's like 30... It looks like he can only do 39 damage, but actually he can do something like 100. I think he can bounce so many times that it actually hits you 3 times. So you really want to have Aralek versus these guys. Really good target for magic resistance type things like Petrify, but there's just too much stuff around. So let's see if we can't find a better staircase. Hello! It is the Salamander Mystic. Hey, Balooz, thank you for the follow. I apologize if I butchered your name. These guys have Force Lance, which does pretty good damage, more if it bounces you into a wall. Bolt of Magma, which is fire, half fire damage. Pretty solid. You can correctly assume they can do about 60 damage to you. A little bit less with resistances. They can also haste their buddies. Salamanders are all vulnerable to cold, by the way, and immune to fire. So we actually don't want to fireball him. We want to take a step back, make our battle sphere, and then we're just using magic darts, and once he gets close enough, stone arrows. I think the battle sphere is still around. Yeah, it was just went off screen. Hello. You can do Control P at any time if you're not sure what just happened to see your combat log. It says the battle sphere expends the last of its energy and dissipates, so let's make another one. That's really annoying when you have to do this in a hallway. You talking about synthetic? Tough game. This is annoying. We're gonna go up. We're gonna rest. We're gonna come back down. Any one of these dudes can constrict you, by the way, which is something to keep in mind. Well, the Nagas, not the salamanders. But I'm just stair dancing. I'm going up and I'm going down anytime I'm particularly hurt or I need mana or I feel like I want to reset my resources a bit. There's no harm typically in going up and going down, so this combo of Battle Sphere plus Magic Dart is great, by the way. They do Turbo Stope, but not necessarily all the way. And even if they do, really, what's the problem? You heal, they heal, you reset the fight until it goes in your favor really well. So even if they healed 100% every time, I would still probably do it. But I actually heal a little bit faster than them, because I have Amulet of Regen. This is a unique enemy called Izel. He is very dangerous under normal circumstances. However, we're immune to sleep on account of being a gargoyle, so... Wow, I didn't know we were immune to sleep. Huh, I had forgotten that. I guess we didn't really need to be worried in that Dream Sheep encounter. How to cast spells in DCSS? Just press Z, and then question mark to see your whole spell list. And then press capital M, Shift M to memorize things from any book that you've picked up, so that they become available. 140 HP on Isil. Venom Bolt, Poison Arrow, not going to be doing a ton of poison damage to me. I think I'm fully immune to the Venom Bolt on account of being a gargoyle. Yeah, Gridgem, I had forgotten about that, but apparently they are. Poison Arrow does half physical damage, so... I think. So that'll do up to 30-ish damage to me, a little more, 31 maybe. Fast, large, hits for 25 damage, hits like a truck in melee. Ordinarily I would never want to use vulnerability against her, him, her, whatever this snake creature is. But I can't be put to sleep, so my magic resistance doesn't really matter that much. So maybe we'll do that and petrify and win. Or maybe we'll just try to battle sphere this thing to death. Quivering spells is a new thing. You can still do that. You can do Shift Q to quiver, and you can quiver spells if you want to, and then like throw them with F. I hate doing that. I'm not used to it. I think it's stupid. I only want to use quiver to throw things personally, but you know, you can quiver just about any ability you want. I just don't recommend. I mean, if you like it, fine. But that is a relatively new thing, and I'm not into it. I'm gonna try to charm this Black Mamba. Took a little damage from the spear. I see Isil's taken some damage here. Here we go. I took a step up and to the left because he kind of disappeared. Okay, now I'm spooked. Now I'm a little spooked because this shock serpent is here. I'm going to take a step, and I'm actually going to walk away so I can't be hit by both of these dudes at the same time. I'm pressing Z, C for my stone arrow, and then I'm pressing dot so I don't shoot into my Black Mamba if this goes poorly. Okay, the shock serpent won't zap through Isil, I don't think. We're actually going to aim at the shock serpent. A tile and tile alone, yes, exactly. Although in that case I wanted to shoot past it so I could hit the shock serpent if I missed Isil. Isil is almost dead. Isil is not dead. Almost want to burn a potion of magic. I'm going to do something I should have done a while ago, which is I am going to copy Isil here. Isil dies. Wonderful. Double Isil death. We have run ourselves out of mana. I'm going to use this Wand of Light, which is a new wand. Okay. I'm going to wear my dagger, and I'm going to attack. I'm only willing to do this because I know that the shock will not bounce. So at most it can do 39 damage to me, but actually it can do less than that because I have resist electricity. Actually, he could hit me twice with it because of the fast, but this is okay. I would not be taking this risk if I didn't have Arlek. I forget exactly how much Arlek cuts the damage, but it's enough that I can't die from a double hit, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna take fire all the way to 10. What's the 7 in parentheses? What you talking about? Oh, that's the range. That's how far the blast can go. I should actually check. Is it a third or a half? I think it, yeah, one. Reduces it to 1/3. Pretty cool. Not by 1/3, but to 1/3. Yeah, I know, right? Right, Loveworm? Yeah. Okay, we auto-explored into a big crowd. Auto-explore is generally not your friend. And this is why. Oh my god, there's so many. Taking a step down here so they can't see me. They don't get like free pot shots at me. Fireball would be good here if this damn thing wasn't in my way. This is a good place to teleport. Let's get the fuck out of here. This is just a lot of electricity. I don't care if it's... Yeah, there we go. That's way better. These guys can Venom Bolt. So I kind of went like my first 2 sessions using almost no resources, and you'll notice I'm like kind of spam using them now. That'll happen when you're trying to do lair branches kind of early. I kind of want to use my pole arm here. See if we can't melee this trash down. There's no reason we can't melee that stuff just because we're a caster. Whenever I had mana, I was using Stone Arrow and there we go, there's our Fireball. Magic Dart, that kind of thing. Let's go up to have a rest. Hello, Scroll of Identify. We're going to press R, we're going to press comma to read off the ground, press enter. Yes, I'd like to read a Scroll of Identify. Normally you don't get that extra prompt, but I have my RC file set up to put that thing, exclamation point R at the end of every scroll. That is to keep me from fat fingering the keyboard and using a scroll when I otherwise don't want to. We found a Scroll of Brand Weapon, which I am going to actually use the Scroll of Brand Weapon on my Demon Whip. It's now a Demon Whip of Freezing, which is my preferred brand for endgame, for the most part. So, I don't know, maybe we'll end up as a whip guy. So despite the over 50% chance to petrify this guy, it took us like 3, 4, 5 attempts. So we emptied out our entire damn inventory on him to make that happen. I prefer not to do that for that reason. Demon Whip. That's exactly right. You gotta say that. Whip. The Demon Whip. You know what? I'm gonna change Fireball to E. I feel like that's the one. That's where I used to put it. My fingers are just trying to make me go to E, so we pressed equal, we pressed S, and we just changed it over to lowercase e. I don't know why. That's just what we do. Oh man. Again, we petrify and take them down. So it's like, listen, we started as an Earth Elementalist, but what is stopping me from using Fireball when it's such a good spell? By the way, I'm going to press Z, E. Let's say I want to Fireball this dude. Cool thing about Fireball, totally ignores evasion. But obviously we don't want to blow ourselves up, right? So instead, as soon as the server stops lagging, wow, it's a big lag spike. Press Z, E for Fireballs where we got it. We're going to go over here. We're going to press dot to make the Fireball stop over there. The Zativa convention. Just stone arrowing. If you're in a hallway, you can't really fireball things. No government considers it legitimate. Well, yeah, they're all trying to steal the Orb of Zot. Hey, have you guys heard about the what's going on in Africa right now? The coup. Niger. The country Niger had a military coup happen. and basically various Western countries are talking about how they're going to like support an actual invasion of the country to set things back the way they want them to be. And I mean, I'm old enough to remember when America at least pretended to have some other sort of reason to invade a country, like weapons of mass destruction or whatever. Which side is America on? America is trying is trying to is the one that wants to, you know, stop the coup. Yeah, no, people have been misspelling that on Twitter. And I don't think they're doing it on purpose, is the funny thing about that. Well, yeah, that's the thing. If the military-industrial complex doesn't make $1 bajillion per year, I mean, that's bad news. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like any country that has a U.S. military base in it, you know, has kind of given up their sovereignty. Yeah. So I mean, people pretend this is you know, a high-minded thing about democracy or whatever, but let's be honest. You know, the West considers countries like that their property. You know. And I think some of these people are starting to realize that maybe they can get a better deal from China and Russia. Hello, Ring of Magic Resistance. I like that. You know what? I'm dropping the Ring of Strength. We don't need that anymore. We're going to pick up the Ring of Haha Willpower. We're calling it Magic Resistance. We are now immune. We have enough magic resistance to be immune to some of the things I was scared of, so we don't actually have to do the rest of Snake Pit if we don't want to. Not yet, anyway. That is another resource they have. It won't let you say the name of the country? That was a little bit risky, me staying near that guy who could have constricted me, maybe. I just can't wait until Biden has to give a speech, because eventually, if this continues to be in the news, somebody is going to ask him a question about it, and given how, you know, old and feeble-minded he appears to be, I'm just excited to see how he pronounces the name. I don't know how he's going to do it. Could be an interesting moment on television. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We can, yeah, let's finish dungeon. Why not? Petrified. Oh yeah, the other day didn't he say that Russia is losing the war in Iraq? Yeah, Turbo Stone, I remember that. That was like a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? Iraq is how he pronounces Ukraine. Good. My battle sphere did the job for me there. It'll kind of attack a random thing as long as I'm doing that. Yeah, it's exactly true, Zolozi. I heard this thing once. It was an interesting little an interesting phrase. It was like when the West comes to Africa, they come with a lecture, and when China comes to Africa, they come and they build a hospital. You know, which seems to be the case. I mean, the West doesn't really give a shit about sovereignty. They expect every single country in the world to go along with our, I want to say cultural norms, but they really are kind of Johnny-come-lately as far as norms go. So I really should, I should be using a different word for it, like cultural hegemony, really, because this kind of thing is it's very new, and some people kind of decided it for us. But my point is that if they don't go along with every little social issue that our leaders, you know, our so-called leaders have decided are important, then it's time for a lecture or for any kind of financial aid to be cut. Whereas China just kind of, yeah, no, China obviously has its own interests, and I fully expect them to, they're not doing this shit out of the kindness of their hearts. They want to own the natural resources like anybody else does. But my point is that as long as they're getting paid, I feel like, and it feels like everything's upside down because it's kind of strange because, I'm told that China is this big evil empire, but at the same time, like, they'll at least kind of respect your sovereignty while they're making money off of you, like, whereas America just doesn't do that. They build a port, a road to the port, a fiber optic line along the road, and a spy station to tap the fiber optic line. I like that. That sounds, yeah, I can believe that. Chef, I think it can. I think with the advent of modern communication technology such as the internet, even something as simple as television, which we've had for a while now, and just in general, I guess you could say the media, including any kind of entertainment. I mean, I'm telling you that there was a time when people got their sense of morality from books like the Bible, and now I think your average person gets their sense of morality from MCU movies. So you watch Marvel movies and you think, wow, I want to be like Thor, and I'm gonna buy some Funko Pops, and this is, yeah, right and wrong is I'm an Avenger, and the bad guys are, whatever the fuck. And the point is yeah, it is top down. Like, whoever is making and popularizing the things that people are enjoying, yes, they basically get to program people. You could normalize just about anything if you just put it in your entertainment. I could, if you put me in charge of Hollywood and gave me like full control of putting out whatever movie I wanted to, I promise you within 10 years I could have the majority of people in America believing that the sky is red, and that you're like a bigot if you don't agree that the sky is red. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I came back here only after I had the magic resistance because I didn't want to be banished. He cannot banish me anymore, so we're just going to take him down. Joke's on you, I'm colorblind. Alright, fair enough. I like your name, by the way. I used to watch the old school Iron Chefs from Japan back when they had the cool costumes. I like to use Fireball against things like those elves because they have low HP and their only real defense is their evasion. I burn through mana pretty quickly while fireballing, and I make a lot of noise, so that's something to keep in mind. Always good conversation here, even if we don't agree on every detail. Well, isn't that the beautiful thing about free speech? is that people can... I mean, I guess it's not. I guess it's not in vogue nowadays, but like, I enjoy disagreeing with people about things. I don't hate anybody for disagreeing with me, but the second that I get the impression that they want me banned from everything for that disagreement is when I cease to think of them as human. Yeah, I mean, no, I agree entirely, Flight. Like, I would not... Let me put it this way. I would not want to live under the Chinese system. It's definitely not for me. With that said, I think it's a lot more honest than America's system because, like, okay, you say the wrong thing in China, you will go to a gulag probably, and very bad things will happen to you if you say the wrong thing enough times and loudly enough. In America, you won't actually end up in a gulag, but... what will happen to you is, the system may be weaponized against you. Like, you may go through the courts. Why? I don't know, maybe. Like those, what was that, what was the name of that couple that they had that riot outside of their house, and, they were armed because they thought they were going to get mobbed and killed. Maybe they were going to get, like, the Reginald Denny treatment. I think they were afraid of that. But the local DA made a big show of charging those people. And then, no, somebody else. I don't remember, but it was MC something, something. But anyway, and the local DA actually made it a political thing and ran on the fact that she had charged those people. Right, and Alex Jones, he says a bunch of things, some of which are true, some of which are goofy, but then the system closes ranks and silences you in America. It makes you unemployable. It takes away. Here's the fucked up thing where we really get scary is the financial systems are all in lockstep with the government at this point, alongside social media. And so what it is that if you are loud enough in a way that the U.S. government doesn't like, suddenly you get debanked. Suddenly you can't process payments anymore. Good luck running a business. I personally think of banking and banking services as something that should be treated as a utility with a duty to serve. Say the most horrendous shit that you want. As long as you're not breaking the law, you should not have your bank taken away from you. And I've noticed that only certain things get you debanked. Epstein never lost his bank accounts. Certain other people I could name did. That's questionable for me. No, that's a really smart move, Flight. So, am I saying that I love China and that I love their censorship system? Absolutely not. I just think it's more straightforward, it's more honest, and it's probably easier to live in terms of if you want to follow the rules, then you at least know what the rules are. Whereas in America, first of all, the level of enforcement is almost entirely random. It's entirely unaccountable. There's no system, really. It's just the court of public opinion and then some, completely unaccountable people into the financial industry that's just like, oh, fuck you. You can't process payments anymore. I'm a credit card corporation. You can't process credit cards. So there's that. But then on top of that, the rules change on a daily basis. I make a joke 10 years ago on Twitter, and it's hunky-dory, and it's completely in line with what's culturally acceptable. 10 years later, somebody finds it's offensive now. Fuck you. You lose your job. You lose your ability to process payments, so on and so forth. I just don't see that happening in China. Listen, I'd love to be able to criticize the government. That's I think it's sad that you're going to have a hard time doing that in China, but at least I know that that's what the rule is. And that rule's not going to change, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's the other thing, Loveworm. There's a path to redemption in China that doesn't really seem to exist in America. Once you've been declared excommunicated or a non-person, you're a pariah for life, basically. Nice, another identifier. We're going to press R, comma, enter to read it off the ground. Well, not a lot of luck here in terms of scrolls. I was really hoping I was toting around a scroll of acquirement, but that's okay. We know the next one's either going to be acquirement or torment, so that's okay. Yeah, Skippy, I can't talk about that too much on this platform because, like all good things, I'm censored if I have the wrong opinion about it. But I will say that my wife was actually fired from her fully remote position for not taking that fully remote position. So you do the math on that, whether that makes sense or not. Anyway, Wind Drake. I'm gonna press Battlesphere, and so Wind Drakes can blow you away with Wind Blast, but I don't think it does any damage unless they change things. Did they make Airstrike? They changed Airstrike the way. I'm using Shift X, we're going over to him, pressing V. Yeah, it does more damage to targets surrounded by empty space. So being in a hallway is helpful, I think. Being surrounded by dudes is also helpful. I like that it seems to be giving me a range. It would be nice if it just kind of did the math for me and didn't say 7 to 23. So a lot of damage possible here. Still has low magic resistance. You usually see these guys in shoals. We didn't roll shoals this time, but that doesn't mean that they cannot show up other places. Does repel missiles affect Stone Arrow? It does, but repel missiles doesn't seem to exist anymore. Oh, wait, yeah, it does. He hasn't cast it, though. If he casts it, then we'll probably switch to Magic Dart, which doesn't care about that. Actually, let's switch to Magic Dart now, because he has, even without the repel missiles, he's got high evasion, so Magic Dart can't miss. The Battlesphere did all the work, really. No, not repel missile. It was deflect missiles that got taken away. I'm using Petrify on this Manticore and failing because the RNG hates me. I see that there's a Tengu Conjure. You know what? Let's just walk on out of here. I mean, why is that? I mean, like, shouldn't... Here's the thing, Iron Chef. Like, I think Alex Jones said a whole lot of goofy shit. With that said, he has the right to say it, and, you know, if we... It's always struck me as weird when people think, oh my god, this new idea that disinformation is the most dangerous thing. You know, if people are too stupid to tell the difference, then that's more of an indictment of democracy itself. And it's like, what you're basically saying is that people are too stupid to make decisions for themselves, therefore... we need to make decisions for them about what they are and aren't allowed to hear, or say, for that matter. I mean, I definitely don't agree with everything the man says, but there are certain things he's talked about in an extremely goofy way, such as, you know, chemicals and stuff that's in water and our food, which he was ultimately proven right about. Nobody took him seriously because he said it in this sort of wild and crazy, grandiose, like, whack-ass way, which perhaps was the point. I don't know. But I mean, this is kind of the problem when you demonize an individual and then use that as an excuse to ignore every single thing that they say. Like, just because someone is a little goofy or even wrong in a lot of cases. I mean, yeah, and that's a very silly quote, but what he was talking about was a chemical called atrazine, which is in fact used as, I believe, a pesticide for corn, and is in fact toxic, and does in fact fuck around with your endocrine system. So, like, does it turn frogs gay? No. That's goofy. That's ridiculous. And the way that's phrased is so asinine that one is forced to wonder... I've heard the man described as controlled opposition... You know, or maybe he's, I don't know. I can't say for sure. But the basic point there that, yes, pesticides are being used, you know, various horrendous companies like Monsanto and, I don't know, what's that one chemical company, DuPont, so on and so forth. Like, yeah, they're dumping shit into our water. They're dumping shit onto the foods that we eat. It's all for a profit, and you know the people, the FDA, the EPA, these regulatory agencies that are supposed to be protecting us, they're not protecting shit. Compare the regulations in America to the regulations in Europe, and you'll see that there is tons of stuff that we consume in America that is outright banned in Europe because they consider it to be, you know, not safe. You know, it gives people cancers, for example, or something like that, or it messes with your endocrine system. I mean, sperm counts, testosterone way down over the last 50 years. Like, where does that come from? Is that an accident? Is it a big mystery? But I mean, nobody cares because these are all slow-moving problems. So like these big companies dump stuff onto our food and into our water. And again, I don't think they're like nefariously trying to cause a problem. I think that, you know, you use a pesticide because it gives you a bigger crop, which gives you more profits. It's literally just profit seeking. And there's no morality there because they know that they won't get caught because it's going to give a certain number of people cancer, but it's going to do it over the course of like 20 years. So the odds of them being caught doing this, very low. And even if they do get caught, is anybody going to go to jail? No, they're going to get like a slap on the wrist fine. You know, I think that if this happened in China and it was like proven that a company knew that they were putting something on food that killed people, I have a suspicion those people would end up in prison. I mean, that, you know, you talk about the Chinese system. I would like some of these people to be actually prosecuted as criminals. Monsanto is the closest thing to the umbrella corporation to exist. I would agree with that. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, this is an acid dragon. Why don't we hot swap our ring of corrosion resistance on? No, I'm sure they do, Flightbird. I know they have an epidemic of fake food over there, for example. I'm not trying to say that I would trust every street food you can buy in China. What I'm saying is that if you like if you could prove that a company knowingly poisoned people and was raising the cancer rate significantly, they would not get like $1 million fine. Somebody would go to prison. That's my instinct. Somebody in China, you know, can tell me different. I'm not saying that I'm sure about that. It's just my instinct that it would be less tolerated than it is in America. What is happening here? Is that a new? Is that a new thing? It's resistance, but I don't know if I remember it looking like that. Let's go up the hatch. Taking some damage here. If you well, you know, Flightbird, I would prefer some amount of due process here, but you know, I want a world where if you're the CEO of a corporation and you do some horrendous shit that either kills or lowers the lifespan of random people, and you know that you were doing it when you did it, I would like to live in a world where that person goes to prison. Is that really so much to ask? Well, a lot of it's, yeah, that's true, Iron Chef, and a lot of it is technology related, but, you know, a lot of it isn't. I mean, I don't know. OxyContin, yeah, didn't the OxyContin family, the Sacklers or whatever, win immunity from prosecution, further prosecution on that? I mean, they can't get sued anymore, like, something like that. I mean, that's, that's a little messed up, don't you think? Well, I mean, listen, it's simple math to these fucking people, okay? Like, if you can make X amount of profit and your chances of getting caught doing something nefarious are like 10%, and then if you do get caught, the penalty is Y, and Y is less than X, then they're going to do it. And it's like, under ordinary circumstances, I suppose morality would stop people, but there are way more psychopaths in the world than you would ever want to believe. Let's make a dog. Let's swap spots to make a space. We've taken some damage. We're gonna... If you're wondering if I've done anything that raises questions in this game, please tell me. Yeah, that's not how it works in America, Loveworm. If you get caught messing around on taxes, you end up with a very bad situation on your hands. I don't mess around with that at all. Like, if there's a question, I pay more, not less. I just don't want to. I don't want there to be the appearance of impropriety. I'm not playing games with the IRS. I may not like it, but I like going to prison even less, so. Yeah, that's true, Iron Chef. The left used to care about big corporations and their malfeasance, but the problem is that the big corporations suddenly started, you know, carrying water on, meaninglessly carrying water on the left's social issues or whatever. Like they'll you know, you have these companies that will like, oh, we threw up a rainbow flag in July, so that means we're on your side, right? It's like, okay, whatever. But my point is that it's just, you know, it's just like so naked what they're doing, and somehow it works is the thing that blows my mind. And then of course, yeah, they carry water for them in other ways. Like the left has these huge corporations that, you know, on the West Coast will simply censor anybody that they want, you know, and so of course they're not going to say like, oh gee, well, hey Congress, could you investigate Facebook or like Twitter before Elon Musk took it over, or that kind of thing. Like, why would they? It's politically expedient not to do that. We ran out of mana, so like ordinarily someone might think, gee, let me drink a magic potion here, but instead I waited for my mana to come back. I fought for a while with my spear, didn't take damage, thankfully, didn't get whacked with the Great Mace too many times. Now, like ordinarily in the old version of the game, I would have just walked away. And then like now in this new version with this attack of opportunity bullshit, you have to be a little bit more cautious, or you have to make slightly different choices, I should say. So it's like I could have taken a mana potion, burned a resource, and fought, but instead we've just added a layer of tedium where I have to summon an ally and put him in between. No, he can't one-shot me. No, he does, it's a Great Mace, so it's a lot of damage, 37 plus drain. Not too much drain damage. I've got tax of Plopportunity. Okay, so before the last couple versions, if I'm next to what I call a speed 10 enemy, which is to say an enemy of average speed, most things in the game are speed 10, most players in the game are effectively speed 10. If I am next to one in the old version of the game and I move away, all that happens is they move next to me. And there's a thing called random energy, so sometimes they get an extra move here and there, and they might be able to move forward and also get an attack on me, or they might not do anything. But 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they would walk right in lockstep with you. And the idea is you could use that to, you could run away for a little while. You could, hold on, do you have RF? No, you don't. You could run away for a little while to get your HP back. You could try to make random energy kick in and create a tile of space so you could go up the stairs, so on and so forth. But now, in modern poop crawl, if you walk away from a thing that is the same speed as you, they get a thing called an attack of opportunity, where it's not 100% of the time, it's like half the time they can get a swing on you. And in addition to that, they still remain in lockstep with you, so they're still next to you. And on top of that, random energy is gone. So there is no way at all to generate space between you and an enemy unless you specifically do some kind of action to make that happen. So you may need to use a resource like a blink scroll, tele, you may need to use like a scroll of butterflies. You may need to, instead of using a resource, you could cast something. So the funny thing about this, and my big complaint here, is that what they have done is they have actually buffed things that were already incredibly powerful. For example, the summoning school is now basically necessary to win a game. You would be a fool if you did not pick up some really shitty summoning spell and then use that, because what you can do is you can create an ally with like Call Imp or something. They removed the butterfly spell, they created a scroll of butterflies. Anyway, if you get something silly like the Call Imp spell, you pop it up, the guy's right there, and then you just trade spots with him, and then you don't suffer an attack of opportunity, and suddenly you've created a space. It's incredibly lame. I have never really liked summoning in this game. They altered summoning. That's the funny thing is they buffed it even more and made it so it doesn't take experience away from you anymore, which, to be fair, I thought that was a slightly awkward mechanic anyway, but I don't know, man. Like this whole attack of opportunity thing is really mind-blowing. All right, we got our first portal level. What do you call them? This is a Bazaar. Is there any game that is fun these days? I mean, there's a fork of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup called B-Crawl, which I highly recommend. There's another one called Bacadron Crawl, which is not so similar to the main line, but that doesn't mean it's not a fun game. It's just it's less focused on balance and more focused on wacky stuff. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you can always play the old versions of Crawl. Made for Linux. They're all playable on Linux. So I used magic mapping here because what happened is I'll do Control P. When I flew downwards, it says you hear coins being counted. An interdimensional caravan has stopped on this level and set up a bazaar. Hurry and find its entrance before they move on. If I don't go ahead and take care of that, it will disappear before I get the chance to go in. Hello, Mr. Wizard, who I am immune to. Fireball you. Oh boy, it's time to use a Scroll of Fear. We took too much damage. Centaur hunters are not fucking around. I don't care if I miss the bazaar. I'm more interested in staying alive. Hello, Tengu Warrior. 53% chance. Okay, we got him with the Petrify. Fireball is now 10. Let's take our spellcasting to 10 as well. Rainbow washing? What now? Zalozi, yeah, I read the, what, wasn't there like an Amazon manual on trying to hire, they apparently did a study that said that diversity reduced, the chance of people unionizing, so that was their, I don't know, kind of interesting. Had influenced their hiring practices a bit. Oh lord. Oh no. I took a turn I shouldn't have taken. Let's take a step. Let's take a step. Let's make a wolf. That is Nessos. Nessos is not screwing around. He's holding my review hostage. Chateau, so good. Yes, please read my books, my friends. They're available on my site under a pay what you want model. It's 3 fantasy novels and a trilogy. That means you can download them for free if you're especially cheap. Obviously, I would appreciate if you gave me a couple bucks, but you don't have to. Alternately, you can pick them up on Amazon if you don't trust my site to process your payment, although, to be fair, I never see your payment. My payment processor does. A whole protest playbook. Thank you, Loveworm. I appreciate you saying that. This floor is not being super kind to me. Okay, he's being petrified. You hear the stately tolling of a bell nearby. Yeah, Rex, I could do that, except I amnesia'd pass wall because I hate it, so that's not happening today. Oh my god. Try to use Disintegrate to take this dude down. That didn't work. Do you have a shield? No, you've got a Great Mace of Draining. How do they all have Great Maces of Draining? Flame, maybe? There, the Fireball did it. Okay, this staircase is pretty close. I'm gonna rest and hear the stately tolling of a bell nearby. You have a good amount of time. A diversity recruitment drinking event at a conference for Comcast. You know, I just want to know how it is that these people somehow convince the world that meritocracy is racist. How could that possibly be the case? To simply give the person, regardless of who they are, what they are, you know, whatever, give them the job if they are the best at that particular job. If they work the hardest, if they get the most done, that's, you know, that's the person that deserves the job, right? And somehow, it sounds asinine, but I am now told, somehow, meritocracy is racist. Can anybody explain this to me? But it's like things no longer have to make sense when you could just shout people down. Then you don't. Oh, I have my dagger equipped. That's not good. When you can simply shout people down and ban them from things and just kind of like yell words that end with ist or phobe, you know, at them, you end the conversation very quickly. There's no way to talk to people like that. It's over. You know, there's no conversation to be had because you're an evil bigot and you're wrong. You know, like you're just automatically wrong, and anything you say can now be ignored because you've been painted as the worst thing imaginable. It's the conversation crusher, you know. It's Jover. Yeah, I mean, that's actually an interesting question, Flight. I do think most jobs in the modern world are bullshit jobs, and increasing automation is going to have to make us sort of... Eventually, people are going to have to face the fact that you're absolutely right. Like a monkey with a typewriter could do most jobs on the planet nowadays. They're bullshit jobs. Nothing really gets done. You're making spreadsheets, and it's just like, why are you getting paid? Well, because we need warm bodies. Totally Jover. And yeah, that's the other thing. Is just like when you have a bullshit job like that, it turns out that somebody on the other side of the planet can in fact do it, you know, and if they're the lowest bidder. Let me show you what I'm doing here. What I like to do is I like to press O for auto explore a lot. I like to hold shift. This is when I go into a bazaar with all these shops. I like to press shift and then the key of the items that I'm most interested in. At every single shop along the way. I want fog, I want fear, I want identify, I want telly. Hell, I want enchant armor. Press oh so good. I don't really care about that helmet. We're gonna find another one. Curing, resistance. Cool thing is we're worshipping Gozag, so we have a ton of gold. It just occurred to me, I should drop my potions of flight, huh? I'm a gargoyle. Take the wand of light, probably. Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft hire software engineers for $150,000 a year to sit down on a desk not doing anything just to make sure talented folk don't work for other giants. I mean, that, yeah, it's crazy, right? Okay, we got the gloves of the present. I guess I'll put those on. I have the ability to activate blink now if I want to. I never found the actual spell. Maybe that doesn't exist anymore. Cleopatra documentary? Isn't there... Yeah, didn't they completely change the race of Cleopatra and then everybody who complained got called a racist? I don't know, man. The stuff that comes out of the UK nowadays is even more ridiculous. I guess the Boleyns were black too now. Yeah, no, I know, Chef, but the thing is that, like, well now... Oh, you have a problem with that? What are you, some kind of bigot? Are you a racist? Oh, shit, I bought all this stuff. But this is how these people operate. They're not interested in having a conversation. I'm going to drop these potions of degeneration. Potions of Reddit. I'm going to drop... I never use potions of attraction. Let's get rid of it. They just pull things to you. They might as well be like a cursed item. Okay, I'm going to press backslash on my keyboard, and I'm going to make sure I never pick up potions that I hate again, so... That's going to like a bolded minus. Yeah, Iron Chef, I don't even know if that was real or not. You know what I mean? Like, I have a feeling that was some kind of... Don't get me wrong, I truly believe that that Will Smith is neurotic enough to, you know... I mean, that man's soul left his body as his wife, you know, cucked him repeatedly in public, but the whole thing just struck me as really... questionable. How did Will Smith come up? I'm not really following the chat. Anything can happen at the Oscars, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they would set that up. I just know that they both had smiles on their faces, and it just looked odd. I'm not saying it was staged. I'm just saying that it looked odd. That's all. Like, their facial expression seemed strange to me for an event where, you know... But who knows? I don't know. I'm not a body language expert. I mean, no, it was entertaining. I listened to this... There was this funny edit somebody made where instead they made Will Smith yell, "Keep fucking my wife," which seems appropriate considering... It was the worst PR campaign for Will Smith. Potions of Attraction minus, Potions of Degeneration minus. Well, I mean, I do too, Alderain. I mean, there's probably nothing worse than publicly being cucked. You know what I mean? Let's buy all this stuff. We can no longer bribe. We are burning through all of our gold, but you know what? We're getting potions. From Fresh Prince to Cuck King. It's Morbin time. Get this potion, get that potion, get this teleport. Buy the invis. Invis potions are nice to have unless something has changed. There are certain enemies in the game where you really, really want to be invisible when they're around, depending on the circumstances. If you can. Okay, I'll buy this Wand of Light. Wand of Light is a new item for me, but I'm starting to see it as one of the best new evocables in the game. Like, seems to do a lot of damage. Blinding is really handy if you have stab ability. It goes through people like a javelin does. I mean, damn, stones, must buy. Stones so heavy. Yum, yum, yum. Somehow, despite this whole ass bazaar, no boots. We are still shoeless. We are still a shoeless peasant. Control F dot, just to search for everything on here. Not getting brilliance. Maybe. Oh, is it push-up time? What am I supposed to do? 10? Hold on, let me take care of that real fast. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1,000 push-ups, one for every channel point. I feel like I get tired long before the 1,000. Certainly, if I had to do them in a row. I think I tried to do 1,000 push-ups in a day once, and I got to like 400, and then my arms became jelly. I mean, over the course of a day, I feel like you could build up to that. You would just have to. It would just have to be the only thing you're doing for a while. $2,222 push-ups a day. All right, there you go. Nice. That's sick, man. More power to him. Zolozi, basically, I watched that once, and for some reason it stuck in my head like a barnacle on the bottom of a ship. And now I have to, I'm compelled to say it. Is that the guy who died recently, Skippy? Am I thinking of somebody else? Okay, so the question was posed, should I get Brilliance? I already have 4. I'm not a huge fan of it. Brilliance is like a crappy version of a magic potion, which you have to use in advance. Like, before it was a super sick, awesome potion that was way too fun for the game, so the devs had to ruin it, where it would actually make you more likely to be able to cast a spell. So you could use it to cast spells you weren't quite ready to cast yet. But now all it does is increase the spell power of your spells, which doesn't really matter that much. But it halves their magic cost. So if you use it in advance of a big long fight, then alright, fine, Gridgem, I will buy it, but I don't think it's going to make a difference one way or the other. The problem is, it's one of those resources, it's like a minor boon. It can be really, really good if you know a really long fight is coming, but typically, if a really long fight happens, it kind of creeps up on you. So that is the kind of thing where using a buff in advance is like less helpful. Okay, Nessos has crappy magic resist. We're trying to take advantage of that by petrifying, and then we finally got it done. Normally, I really wouldn't want to fight Nessos like this. Like, he he has a flaming arrow, which I think also poisons you unless they changed it. He can do 27 damage plus 12 plus fire. Yeah, Flight, that is correct. We got him with the Petrify, though. No magic resistance, baby. Always target that magic resistance if you have a good spell available. I'm a big fan of Petrify. People don't seem to understand what a good spell it is sometimes. You've never used TikTok? I haven't either. It's just like... this stuff seems to... what the fuck? Okay, I guess that's just where the thing is going now. On the right side of the screen, sure. Well, I heard it described as a fetish. The NPC fetish, and I guess people will just fap to anything these days. Won't access their website or app. That's probably a good decision. It's 100% a fetish. So people are actually jacking into this. Man, why? Wait, am I even allowed to criticize that on Twitch.tv? Oh no. Lobotomy's so good. Yeah, you do have to wonder if they've had one. On the cooking side of it. Hey man, cooking's cool. King shaming. So anytime my mana's low, I just kind of go back up. We're just clearing out dungeon right now, you know? We're on D15, which is the final dungeon floor. Hello, Catoblepus. Identify. Potion of Berserk. Have I found Magma Blast? Is that still a... do you mean the Magma Bolt? I don't know if that still exists. These are the spells that we found. Something I meant to do earlier, I actually... this is a new spell, V's Electric Charge. Let's read what it does. I don't know. I actually don't know how to pronounce that, Loveworm. Is it not Catoblepus? Catoblus? Hold on. We're gonna say, I've been saying it like that the whole time. Normally I try to either say things comically wrong or entirely correctly. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know this one. Let's see, YouTube. No, I'm not playing. This has music in it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Better not be copyrighted, that tone. Catoplebus? I was trying to bring up the YouTube video that was like, how do you pronounce that word? Catoplebus. Catoplebus. Anyway, you're telling me it's Blinkbolt, that thing I'm looking at? Catoplebus? Like that? Mango or peach? I like mangoes. Oh man, now I want like a mango smoothie. A cat overpass. Anyway, sends the caster hurtling at a chosen enemy, launching a high accuracy melee attack upon arrival. Additional electric damage will be dealt based on the length of the charge, the power of the spell, and the physical damage of the attack. The caster is wrapped in an envelope of twisted space, allowing them to safely pass through creatures' traps, harmful terrain, and to displace creatures at their destination. The time taken by the spell is the greater of the time needed to move one step or that needed to launch one melee attack. Okay, so if you have a slow-ass weapon, it could take more than one turn to move. That does seem useful. I kind of used to like to use Uskawa's final ability as a movement trick. This can only attack enemies, so like I can't use it as a controlled blink, but This actually seems like a pretty solid thing to cast just for movement. I may end up memorizing that. That is handy. And like probably I'd never use it to attack anything, you know. Oh, hey, you know, we have a radiate online. That's interesting. I've always liked a radiate. Why don't we go ahead and memorize a radiate? It does less damage, but it's still pretty good unless they nerfed it even further. Okay, so I am petrifying this guy. Okay, my goal was to get him trapped in the hallway to stop everything else was showing from showing up. Okay, good, he's petrified. So notice how nothing can chase me because he's in the way. That's on purpose. I want my damn mana back. Let's use some of this AoE, yeah. God, we need a bolt. Do we have anything that could function? Did they take away all the bolts in the game? Maybe they did. Freezing Cloud could be handy, but then we'd have to, like, dabble in ice and air. I don't think it's really worth it to dip. Oh, Starburst. I could just get Starburst. It's like a... Yeah, I mean, I don't like to use such things, but... I guess we're going down that route, aren't we? Okay, he's locked. He's petrified. We'll do the same thing we did a minute ago. Fuck it! It's... Oh, I can't complain. I mean, it's incredibly powerful. It's Conjuration and Fire, isn't it? So, I mean, like, that's what we've got. So, generally speaking, if you can get something done without branching into some new spell school, that's probably what you should do, unless you only need like a tiny little boost. Who hated bolts so much? That was a guy named Ebering, who is incredibly stupid. Just a really dumb guy. One of those dudes who thinks he's a genius and has about 40 less IQ points than he thinks he does. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it happens to be true. The guy is just dumb as a doorknob. Possibly the dopiest crawl dev that there is. Okay, let's do it. Let's Starburst. Wow. Okay. Reading the Identify off the ground. And we have Potions of Might. Always starts off with the cameraman offering some women cash. Are we talking about Eastern Europe? Здравствуйте. You gonna move there? Well, you can go to the home of my ethnic people, Poland. It's an American vassal state, but they have, you know, they have some traditional lifestyles over there. 45 damage plus large rocks, so they can do 65 damage a pop. Stone Giant, no joke. I'm gonna do a Phantom Mirror. Getting too Western now. Yeah, no, yeah. The problem is that it seems like my distant relations over there just have this sort of towering hatred for the Russian people, and they're willing to give up everything that their country is just to kind of, you know, teach the Russians a lesson for 1,000-year-old slights, which is unfortunate. This is actually really dangerous. The fact that potions are less effective at restoring my health is making me really uncomfortable here. Actually, what could happen here if the game really wanted to fuck me is that the Stone Giant could hit me for a bunch of damage, and then my Stone Giant that I summoned foolishly with the Phantom Mirror could throw a rock at the Stone Giant, miss it, and then hit me with the rock. So technically I could die here. So why don't we make that not happen? I'm going to burn my first Scroll of Blink. My first big mistake of the game has been made. We're going to step on out of here. That's my get out of jail free card. I happen to have a lot of them, so I feel okay about that, even if it wasn't, you know, ideal what just happened. Okay, as much as I might want a ring of +6 intelligence, hold on. I'm going to tell it not to pick those up, or rings of strength, or rings of evasion for that matter. You know what? I'm going to say don't pick up rings of positive energy either. We've got resistance. Nothing left to identify, really. Except for Acquirement and Torment. Oops. Okay, so there's our Stone Giant. Let's see if we can't fireball him to death. Hold on, I want to see something. Does Starburst do more damage? 60-10 versus a 3d13. Okay, that seems better. You miscast Starburst. The large rock hits your battle sphere. Time to get my mana back. The fact that you can't run his ass out of MP is just it's really unpleasant. Finland? I hope you like playing Noita. Okay, they didn't want to take damage there for some reason. This floor is really giving me a headache, and there's not a lot of resources on it for me to claim. I feel like I should not be fooling around in here, but there's just like a smallish chunk of experience to be had, you know? Here we go, Petrify wins the day. These guys are resistant to fire. Oh, shit. Here we go. Running away, running out of mana. Running down my Zot clock, how cool. What are we gonna do about Mr. Stone Giant? Do we really want to burn a vulnerability to take care of him? I think we actually do. Okay. That was a little bit silly. We took him down, it's fine. Vulnerability took his MR down so we could actually land a Petrify on him. Song of Six, I've played that. I have a couple streams of that. I want to go back to it soon. It's a hard game. You're absolutely right that the UI suffers from I don't even want to call it bad design. I feel like it would be almost impossible to make that game and have it be pleasant to play, which sucks because the game's music is awesome. The game itself has a really cool concept to it. There's too much going on. I mean, yeah, I hear you. I hear you entirely. It's, I mean, it's unfortunate because the game is so cool. Yeah, I would recommend that. Like I said, I'm using this wand of light to make my life easier. Cannibal elves, yeah. The fact that one of the species can literally devour its enemies is kind of neat. Loveworm, unfortunately, oh cool, we found a scroll blinking. I kind of have to agree with you. My big issue with 6 when I played it, and maybe things have changed since then, the game is like, okay, I'm a city builder, which is great. Okay, be a city builder, be the best city builder that you can be. But then once you get to a certain point in the game, suddenly you unlock the ability to control things at a regional level, and then your city essentially becomes irrelevant in terms of like the raw number of resources. Like suddenly you're not building things or giving a shit about building things or crafting things or even really making war. Suddenly you're just like, you have this entire society of dudes with sheets of paper, and you're mailing them out, and you're like doing like scams for the rest of the world, telling them to do what you say and to send tons of crap to you so you could sell them yourself. Like, we're taxing you, and I think it's called administration, and it's really upsetting because, or really disappointing, I should say, because it's like that game had so much promise, and it still does. You have to remember, it's still like super duper early access, and I think the guy who made it cares. I think it's got a really cool aesthetic. I think, again, it's got great music. The way it looks is nice. UI has been slowly improving, but he really needs to just focus in on, you know, he needs to turn it into Dwarf Fortress, but a 4X, you know? It's pretty based. I know it's got some funny quotes in there. Let me glug some water. Water so good. Yum, yum, yum. You have no faith in that guy? Wow, that's harsh. Is there perhaps more to this story? Would you like to share with the class? Alright, that's it for D15. Cool, we finished out dungeon. We have almost 24,000 turns on the Zot clock. We're good. Let's go to... You don't think he has it in him to make a good final game? Well, for his sake, I hope you're wrong. Okay, we need to put on the falchion of magic resistance before we go in here. See that he's got paralyzed and he's 0%, so... The demo is literally the whole game minus version number or something. So you should have just played that. I don't know. I think the guy cares, and that's, I understand that that's not everything, but it's got to count for something when so many devs don't. And the fact that there's not, like, a bunch of weird, like, hardcore lefty bullshit in it, at least so far, is, is nice. And it's like, I don't know, it's just hard for me to dunk on the thing. Whatever problems it has, it's hard for me to dunk on it because it feels good to play that game once you get around certain aspects of it. I am using Irradiate. Irradiate is a good spell. You can cast it, I think, 2 times before your contamination gets too bad. I should be explaining these things. This is meant to be a caster tutorial. So why did I memorize those spells that I memorized a minute ago? Well, I had already trained some transmutation for Petrify, meaning that, you know, I pretty much already had this online. I had already trained Conjuration, because I was planning on going for Orb of Destruction, which we may still do. You know, we got Starburst as well for the same reason. We already had Conjuration and Fire. It's some AoE. We were lacking AoE to deal with hallway type stuff. Fireball's bad at dealing with hallways. Irradiate and Starburst, if you think about it, they basically shore up the weaknesses that Fireball presented to us, where we could deal with AoE, we could deal with lots of enemies at the same time, but only in a particular configuration. Irradiate's letting me deal with them around myself. Starburst is letting me deal with them kind of in a line, and also kind of sort of around myself as well. So what do they actually do? I mean, you really just have to memorize what every spell does if you're going to play a caster in this game. Irradiate, ignore this bullshit up here. I mean, don't ignore it, read it, but like, a lot of it's just fluff. I hate the fact that, I don't know, DCSS is something I've always disliked about it. I think that the description of what the spell does and the mechanics, I mean, I feel like those should be in two different places, because you kind of have to hunt through this a little bit. Like, it transmutes an ultra-thin layer of the caster's skin or equivalent directly into pure magical energy, blasting adjacent creatures. I mean, that's okay. I like the visual or whatever, but I don't know. I wonder if you could maybe more carefully separate mechanics from that. Hey, Zalozzi. Awesome, man. I appreciate you coming by. Anyway, that's a minor gripe. So what it actually does is it applies this effect called Deformed to enemies, which reduces their AC. Very, very powerful. Very useful on certain enemies. It can also contaminate you, and if you get enough contamination, you get mutations, which you really don't want. It does a ton of... that's true, the caster is not left. In this case, anyway. Anyway, yeah, you don't really want to cast it more than a couple times, or you will get contaminated to the point that you might get mutated. It's a lot of damage, or it can be. It used to be guaranteed damage, now it can roll poorly, which is unfortunate. I liked how guaranteed it was. It's still a good spell, it's just not as good as it used to be. Starburst is kind of the same thing, except it's just, hey, I cast bolts of fire in every direction, almost, like in a star pattern. Like that. I've been training fire magic up to 12, by the way. I don't know, Loveworm. That sounds pretty bigoted to me. I should complain. Oh, cool. The game is lagging. So I can pretty much just fireball stuff to death in here. And that's just what we're going to do without thinking too much. I've set this up, you know, I've set the rules up in opposition by coming in here with enough magic resistance and whatnot that I can't be paralyzed. I still got to be careful about certain things, but pretty much we're just going to fireball stuff to death. The exclamation point thing still works. Like, this is technically outside of Fireball's range, but it sets it up in such a way that it hits both of these guys. So I can press exclamation point here, it'll still fire. My damage is not as great as I'd like it to be with this Fireball. 32% power on the Fireball. Wow, we suck. Clearly we need that Potion of Brilliance. Okay, I talked about this, I believe, in the very first session. Orc Knights. Annoying enemy for this point in the game. Lots of HP. 67's not too bad. Kind of hard to kill sometimes for certain characters. Big AC. However, low AC, so we, or excuse me, low MR. So we just petrify and he dies. Now, everything I'm doing here in this caster game, please do not take it to mean that you have to do the exact same things. In fact, there are other games for the exact same combo where you wouldn't even bother to memorize Petrify at all. I mean, that's just kind of the problem with casters in DCSS. I had mentioned a few times it is difficult to make a tutorial that covers like everything that could possibly happen in a game because of how different each run is. And that's true for all characters, but I feel like it's especially true for casters because look how we kind of, I mean, like if you think about the history of this game, we started out and one of the first books we found with stuff in it that I wanted was just like a book with Call Imp in it. And then after that, I think I found in a separate book, I think I found Call Canine Familiar. I took that too because I had already, it's like a cascade of motivations. Like, okay, I got Call Imp, and I said, okay, I want to train summonings because I need to get a summon online. I had already gotten summonings, and then I found Call Canine Familiar with a little bit of extra training that I had already invested some. Might as well keep going. Let's pick up Call Canine, make the game even easier for this part of the game. Then after that, we didn't find anything useful for a while, and so I needed to be able to take out certain threats, and that's when I said, okay, we're going to commit to Petrify. And we used Petrify to help us out in places like Lair, and we also used it to great effect in Snake while we were there. And then we kind of, at some point, we found, I think maybe around that time, we found Fireball, and I realized, like, wouldn't it be nice to have some damage that bypasses EV, and this will actually take us through the Lair branches, so let's stop being silly and go ahead and grab it. And, that took us into Starburst, and the training from Petrify took us into Irradiate. So this character could have looked very different if we had just found spells in a slightly different order. Yeah, that's true, Loveworm. And I mean, we could have even gone down Mephitic Cloud Path and tried to use that for stabbing or something, but there are certain enemies that just don't care about that, so I try to do things that are pretty consistent. I mean, we found Dazzling Flash. We could have tried to use that to be Mr. Stabber. I don't recommend that, but you could. If we had found Static Discharge earlier, we could have maybe done that for some like AoE around us or something. If we had found Ignite Poison, I don't remember when we found Ignite Poison, but if we found that around the same time as Mephitic, we could create a very janky Flame Cloud situation. That's neat. We could have gone down the Blast Mote's path. I guess we still could. There's other things we could have done. Oh yeah, I remember. We found Orb of Destruction, and that's when we really committed to Conjuration, because that was like guaranteed endgame, A lot of choosing what you want to do with a caster is like, do I have an end game available, and do I have a path that will get me there? Like, it's not good enough that, oh, I found Firestorm, I'm going to go for Firestorm. Because if you don't find something like Fireball, or something that'll kind of let you live long enough to get Firestorm online, then what you've done is you've just played yourself, But that is how casters go in DCSS. You really need to have a path forward, whereas with a melee guy, you can kind of sort of just wing it a little bit more. I mean, hell, if you play a Minotaur Berserker, you could train axes fighting, armor, and dodging the whole game and probably win without too much trouble. Not a lot of thought has to go into the skilling. Although you can be more sophisticated than that. Anyway, 2 floors to Orc these days. I think we've cleared out everything. With Gozag, I can see gold in the darkness. It looks like there isn't any. Let's go down. Can you burn books? Not anymore. Not anymore. Hey, we might actually be a Firestorm guy. Be nice if we worship Vehement, we could get a little more range on this thing. Oh yeah, housing in America is insane right now. It's completely out of control. Let's go up. We ran out of mana. Isn't it nice being able to just take a staircase up whenever we run out of mana? Oh no! Let's go up. Let's blink. We used our, it gives us minus blink now, so we can't spam it. That was the first use of my blink gloves to get out from around this stuff. Kind of neat. I should have just cast Irradiate, to be honest. Whatever, this is less dangerous, I suppose. Okay, I'm pressing Shift X and then the bracket, the right bracket, to kind of look down here and see what was here. I think I'd rather go over here. Is there anything that's like a huge ass AoE that we could do? Freezing Cloud's the only thing I can think of, and well, and Conjure Ball Lightning, but this is a noob trap. Don't cast Conjure Ball Lightning. Just don't do it. Yeah, you can't burn books. You can't. Goosebumps are my favorite books. You can't burn books anymore as Trog, which is just really unfortunate. I like how the server has decided that this is the time it's gonna take to lag like crazy. Go up. I wouldn't be so casual about tanking all this stuff at the same time if I didn't happen to have like a decent amount of EV, a decent amount of AC, and a shield. Like as far as defenses go, we have enough to deal with this particular pile of crap. Irradiate field, yeah, pretty much. Again, I'm being very careful not to cast it more than twice because I don't want to get more mutations. The one that we have is annoying enough, but boy, trust me, it could be worse. Mutations are like the worst system in the game, and not, I wouldn't say the absolute most dangerous thing to happen to you, but pretty dangerous. I think there might be an invisible sorcerer around here. The aura is turning the orcs fey. Hey, buddy. Petrify the... Oh, I see. Okay, we'll... Fireball over in this general direction. Got him. If you fireball into the, you know, the darkness and something is invisible and it dies, you will see... you feel a bit more experienced, and typically you'll also see reactivating auto pickup. I'm prioritizing taking out like priests and stuff in the back. Let's go up. And the reason I'm doing that is because like if that big guy's petrified, he's not much of a threat, right? But every single one of these priests can do 7 to 17 damage, right? That's a lot of damage when it adds up every turn. So I will say this, in DCSS, choosing your targets is very important, but this is also doubly true for a caster where maybe you have a few more options in that regard than a normal character might have. Like if you're a melee dude, you want to deal with something that's like very far behind enemy, a big pack of enemies. You may not have much you can do except for like, I don't know, some javelins. But for me, I can fireball, I can, you know, depending on what spells I've taken, I can do some shenanigans. How you like me fireballing through that sun demon? What a balls. God, imagine trying to do this without stair dancing. I think I'll melee this stuff to some degree, at least the popcorn, the smaller enemies, but let's see if we can't. Let's see if we can't just kill this guy with blasting. No petrify. Yeah, see how much longer it takes? It could be done, but man, I'm actually gonna take fire magic to 15. Well, that's because B-Crawl is a better game, Loveworm. That continues to challenge you in the mid and late game where DCSS really doesn't have any idea how to do that. But yes, I remember when I first played B-Crawl, I was like a big whiner about that mechanic, and then I thought about it and I presented some feedback to BHOth, and because unlike the mainline devs, BHOth is not a prick, he listened to me and he thought about it, and he actually changed it to where I think there's like you can't be teleported when you go down a staircase for the first few floors. But he kept the mechanic in the late game, and God bless him, it's actually a really cool mechanic. It really grew on me. I started to realize, like, you know, this actually presents a challenge that simply does not exist in mainline crawl, and the game is better for it. Yeah, I know, right? He doesn't just tell the player that he's a fucking idiot, you know, like the mainline devs do. I mean, they don't say that verbatim, but they might as well be. I mean, you should see the way some of these people treat, you know, just random players trying to give feedback. It's just mockery. Instead of hearing people out, they will immediately go straight to mockery. And you just can't talk to people like that, you know. No, BHOth is great, though. He does not do that. You also can't be teleported if there's no enemy in line of sight. Yeah, that would be a tedious, annoying thing if you could, so... No, that was one of the smarter ideas, actually. I mean, and I can tell it's smart because it took me, it's like deceptive is the thing, because it seems like a really stupid idea until you play with it and get to the mid game and get to the late game and you realize, like, holy shit, suddenly crawl is dumping me into situations that I don't want to deal with and I have to actually think my way through. Because typically with mainline DCSS, if you've built your character correctly, once you're in the mid game or the late game, it's all a victory lap. You know, maybe you have some trouble in the extended. I don't know, but does anyone have the backstory on these weirdo devs? Well, they banned me from everything. Spam tornado, hell yeah. No, I mean, the game's just not popular enough for anybody to have really taken enough of an interest. But I mean, I don't know, man. I remember one of them likes to tell people about, there's this one individual who just won't shut up about his weird, creepy sex dreams in their IRC, but I don't know if he's still around. I know a girl who was like, was subjected to that. I mean, I don't know if you could find the old logs from their IRC, you could see him doing that. It was all very public and fucking creepy. Which is funny because it's the kind of thing that you would think that they would not tolerate, but I guess it's okay when they do it. It's kind of like how Trudeau is still the Prime Minister of Canada, even though he's been caught in blackface like 4,000 times. These people don't actually believe in anything. It's just kind of it's a raw power kind of thing. Like they just care about power. Let's see if we can take out this Orc Warlord. If we had irradiated him first, we could have probably gotten damage faster, but we got him. That's the toughest Orc there is. Well, that's a new tile. The hat tile. I kind of want to buy that because that could be MR. Ew. Remind me of this house when I was in college, of all the weirdos on campus who would recruit new people to their house. Uh-oh. Probably find people sitting alone on a park bench. Yeah. You ever meet someone and like a chill runs down your spine and you just want to get the fuck out of the room? I have a suspicion that if I were to ever run into one of the crawl devs in real life, I would get that exact feeling. I would just, like, something deep inside me, some caveman instinct would just appear in my brain, and it would be screaming at me to just, like, don't walk, run in the opposite direction. Like, some of these people, some of them are just dumb, some of them are genuinely creepy and weird. The guy who, like, spearheaded trying to get me banned from everything is, listen, I'm not like a licensed psychologist or anything. I'm just saying I am pretty sure he's a clinical narcissist. Legit mental illness. Oh no! What are you talking about, bro? It's totally normal to have a system. You ever heard of a system? They make up funny schizophrenic sounding phrases for things. Apparently it is now normal to have a bunch of different people in your head living inside you. Rather than calling that a disorder that should be treated and not embraced, like, I guess you're like a bigot if you think maybe like that's not something that you should be trying to... I don't know, man. I don't know, guys. We just found a ring of MR+, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and burn our enchant weapons to clean up our inventory a bit. Exactly, Loveworm. That'll keep you 100% safe. We have enchant armor. Whoa. No, I wanna stay on page. What the fuck? I was trying to control F shield. I was searching for shields. We found a kite shield. But I think I'm just going to keep enchanting my... Oh, just kidding. You can't enchant bucklers past +3. I don't even know if I want to burn my scroll of enchant armor on the cloak. Headmates. Yeah, that's another word for it. Yeah, headmates. Like, I'm just supposed to pretend like that's totally hunky-dory and not a disorder that should be treated. But I mean, you're going to get to the point where anything like that is, you know... And I'm not, like, denigrating these people. If you've got a mental disorder, there's nothing shameful about that, but you can have a mental disorder and not embrace it as, like, a thing that you're supposed to just sort of live with. Like, there is such a thing as treatment, and acting like it's totally advisable to just go through your life pretending that you have 6 people in your head. I mean, is it really that controversial to say that's not a good fucking idea? Well... no, I mean, I feel like if you're embracing some kind of weakness, if you're embracing dysfunction, that is shameful.
Our dad had taught us not to be ashamed of our
drink. I do need some water. I'm talking about. Hold on, let me get a nice sip, and I'll think how I want to phrase this. I am saying that if you are born with a chemical imbalance of some sort, some kind of thing that you can't really do anything about, or you have to work towards overcoming, like some form of depression or even schizophrenia or something like that. I'm saying there is no shame in something that you were born with and have to overcome. Like, you did not ask for that condition, you know, fine. But, oh shit, I'm sorry. But, anyway... Well, no, hold on, Eldorain. What? I'm not sure what you're suggesting here. Maybe it's best if we move on. I don't know. Trying to keep my account here. Is it the Germans? Oh, there's a Synv ring. See invisible. I want that. So many beautiful things to hot swap to. We also have some amulets. I am not going to get Guardian Spirit because I don't want my mana to go away at a crucial point. And I'm not going to buy Acrobat because, I mean, I don't know, I'd like it, but I like my gold more for Gozag powers. So you may be wondering why I'm carrying around all these stupid weapons. God, I could get rid of my evasion, but that +5 is probably helping a lot. I don't know, man. I guess we could get rid of the spear. Yeah, let's drop that just for inventory space. I'm carrying the dagger so I can stab things. I'm carrying the sling for ranged, but fuck it, we can drop the sling. I'm carrying the Scimitar of Distortion because if I want to take a trip to the Abyss, maybe I can wear that and take it off. I'm carrying the Spear for Synth, but now we have a better swap, which will give us Synth without the corrode downside, so that's good. This is a lot of DCSS right here, is deciding what your loadout's going to be item-wise. You make a mistake there, and trust me, the game will punish you at some point. Yeah, Germany is an occupied territory. It's just a vassal state of the American Empire. I mean, with what happened to your pipeline, don't investigate. I'm sure Russia did it. I'm sure they blew up their own pipeline or something. I don't know. That's what I'm told. I would never question the mainstream Western media. Surely they wouldn't lie to me. Don't think about who benefits. Anyway, do I want to purchase this scale mail? I bet you it makes my spells completely uncastable. My strength is only 13. I don't really care how good this thing is. It's probably shit. Let's not even bother. If I find myself really needing some kind of resistance, maybe, but we're pretty good so far. I could swap on this Ring of Magic Resistance and wear a second one instead of the Evasion, but the reality is that I really like the Evasion that I have. That +5 is going a long way for me. And I'm happy with the falchion on. I'm fine with it. It's not a big deal. We're not having to melee that much. If I need to, I can swap to the dagger. Okay, so where should we go now? We finished dungeon now. We finished Orc. We got these 4 shops in Orc, which were, I've got to say, a little underwhelming. We've been underwhelmed by items so far this game. Which is okay. You know, it's okay. I'd rather have a little more in the way of resistances if we're going to go to Elf. So we're not going to go to Elf. I think we're just going to... I mean, fuck it. Let's just finish Snake. Let's get ourselves a rune. Yeah, get some water in you. We got some more happy tools to deal with these snakes. Sorry, a bit of lag here. Oh, okay. I'll do squats then, and maybe the lag will clear up. Thank you, Loveworm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good. What game can I get this weekend that doesn't suck? Well, what kind of games are you into, Flight? Song of Six is making you depressed. I feel like Song of Six is like, it's a game with so much promise, and it just like, it doesn't quite deliver on that promise yet, but I'm holding out hope, you know, fingers crossed. You can go really old school, go play some Master of Orion 2 if you like 4X. What have I played and liked lately? If you like Vampire Survivors clones, I bought, someone purchased Bone Razor minions for me. It's like $5, and I really did not expect to like that genre, but holy shit, it's fun. And if it's not, then you're out $5. Alright, let me take my socks off here. I have a hardwood floor, and I'm going to crack my skull if I don't. Try to do handstand push-ups. Alright, here I go. Wait, forgot to take my glasses off. Not good. Alright, here we go. Going down. And coming up. Hello, said no one. Whew. Can I play some DCSS now? Could be down for something you have to play with a controller. That's, yeah, Bone Razor minions. Listen, I thought I would hate it. Like, that whole genre, I had never played it before, and my instinct was that I would despise it. Actually awesome. I'm sure that most of the games in it suck, but I had a ton of fun with it. I mean, it's got some 5-year-old humor in it, but like there are a lot of boner jokes, obviously. but it's fine. I thought it was funny. Let's walk away. Get our mana back. Hey, has anybody here learned to do handstand push-ups? Have I inspired anybody to do their first handstand push-up yet? Diablo 4. Somebody bought Diablo 4 for me, so I really do need to finish playing through it, but I don't like the game. It feels like a weird, pale imitation of D2, which makes me, it just kind of makes me sad. Watch me beat it. Hey, that's a flail of distortion. We took him out. Kettlebell enthusiast. I need to buy some of those. I keep hearing that working out with kettlebells is fun, but I have never in my whole life done it, which is funny because I have a Olympic bar and weights, but no kettlebells. Starburst. That's right, Moya. Anybody who gets that reference, please pat yourself on the back. If you don't, get out of my stream right now. Just kidding. Something I forgot to mention, by the way, is that any big fire spells will make steam just like a Wand of Flame does, so. It was a reference to Farscape, by the way. It's an old sci-fi show. Time to leave Malcolm alone. Oh no! So the Guardian, this is one of the big boy dangers that you got to be worried about. In Snake. Can we die right now? I think we can die right now. If it wasn't 3 Nagarajas, then I might be willing to fight this out and just like spam irradiate, but 32 damage a pop and then constrict for 7. Yeah, it's just too much. This is the poster child for a blinking situation. Up there. Go here so they can't see me. I'm gonna pop that up. Fireball the serpent. Fireball the serpent. I want to get upstairs. I'm gonna stone arrow. Phantom Mirror is not available, that's unfortunate. Okay, we took him down. I'm gonna make the dog. Okay, I'm carefully moving to where the Guardian Serpent can't see me. Now he can, but if he can't see his allies, then he can't blink them to me. You know what I mean? Anyway, he's alone now. So just finish him with the Radiate. So we burned a blink scroll there. You know, that's what resources are for. Guardian Serpents are no joke. The fact that they can teleport things around you, blink allies, encircling, whatever you want to call it, that is like a horrendous thing to have to deal with on a caster, on any character, but especially on a caster. I mean, imagine if we were not a gargoyle. Imagine if we were a deep elf. You know, deep-ass deep elf. You know? Who didn't have 23 AC. And 23 AC isn't even that good, but on a deep elf, we'd probably have, like, what are we getting from being a gargoyle right now? Plus 12? So on a non-gargoyle, we would have, like, with this armor, we would have, like, 11 AC. So we would get absolutely smashed in the face by this stuff if we took even one round of attacks from that. So you gotta be careful. A kite shield of positive energy. That is not a resistance I care about very much on a gargoyle, or else I would swap to that right now. Yeah, I'm not giving up IRF plus. Snake 3. In B-Crawl, I think Snake is only 3 floors, which is nice. We're safe from shafts here. Let's go up, let that haste go away, come back down. I'm gonna, wonder if I can just starburst this dude to death. Nice. Didn't affect the salamander, unsurprisingly. Irradiate and Stone Arrow. I know Stone Arrow is a low-level spell, but it's actually comboing pretty well because it reduces their AC. BG has ended with killing Bale. I agree. Well, killing, what's her name? The Throne of Bale girl who had Bale's powers. You weren't really killing Bale, you were killing some priestess that had stolen Bale's energies. Salamander Tyrant. Pyroclastic Surge. Well, there's no lava around. Volcano. Well... Okay, cool. Stone Arrow and Battlesphere did the job. Noita is pretty good. I streamed that a week or two ago, and I had played a little bit of it before. It's a fun game. That's what I'll say about it. Completely. You'll get your money's worth out of it, and there's multiple ways to play it and enjoy it is the coolest thing about it. So, Kite Shield of Reflection. I think we found our end game shield once I find another source of RF. Yum yum yum. Reflection so good. Yeah, it is. I've noticed that as I've gotten older, I've kind of developed the same problem. The absurdly high amount to request a BCSS option is gone. You've been saving for that. Would you like me to put it back? Have no fear, Desert. It'll come back. Do you remember what the price was? I may have just disabled it. I don't think I deleted it. I think I just like had no interest in playing Crawl anymore. It's a fork of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup that is far and away superior to the mainline version of the game. Yeah, B-Crawl. I don't know why he's calling it BCSS. B-Crawl Stone Soup. Yeah, okay. Alright, no, that works. I don't think I've ever heard it described that way, that's all. That was a typo. To anti-donate. Oh, shit. Yeah, Flight. That's a game that you definitely want to play the proper way. I have a video series on YouTube where I possibly had the coof while I was recording it. I called it the Fat Bastard series, where I played a game of CDDA, and I started with obesity, and the game just kind of lets you not eat for months when you, at least back then, I don't know if they've changed it, but you could just survive off your own body fat. that's a lot of ranged. Oh yeah, I created some wacky, like, shitty... Yeah, it was like a tricycle that I was like shooting... I think I conquered a mansion while on like a bicycle. I was like shooting arrows at the zombies while I was on a bike, and I had to like stop the bike, and it's a tricycle. I had to stop the tricycle, and it was all made out of wood. It was like a total hunk of shit, and I'm just like shooting arrows at the zombies, and then like backing up a little bit and stopping and doing it again. It was hilarious. Humongous blob man on a tricycle. Yeah, I was doing drive-bys on zombies. That is true, Flightbird. Actually, they can. I think you can survive for up like a month without eating, depending on your body fat. Horrendously unhealthy way to lose weight, but I suppose it works. You may give yourself a heart attack in the process, as you put stress on every system. Highly not recommended. Make a Reuben sandwich and CDDA. That sounds fun. That's the thing about CDDA. Because it's not really designed as a game and instead is this wacky, extremely bloated simulator, the only way that you can truly have fun in it is if you make a task for yourself. Like, don't go into it like, oh, I'm gonna get powerful and win the game. Like, all right, you have no, it's like open-ended, you get bored. Have a goal, you know? Like, I'm going to get fully mutated with fish mutation. I find the game boring as fuck if you don't have, like, a specific purpose. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a sandbox game, but I do think that fully half the people who play that game really want it to be a video game, and it's kind of a shame that it's not, to be honest with you. But I can see... I don't know, I feel like the mainline version of CDDA is a game that really doesn't know what it wants to be, you know? Bright Nights is trying to turn it into a game, and I can respect that. And that's... I don't know, I feel like CDDA wants to be a game more than it wants to be a sandbox, to be honest. Nobody will take you by the hand with the story. The removal of food from DCSS is the wackiest choice. Can you imagine how much I would be punished in the old version of the game for stair dancing and casting Fireball this many times? My god, my character would be a hungry, hungry hippo. Oh, Kevin hates my ass. Kevin is an angry, angry, angry man who tells people that they're banished from CDDA. That guy, like, once stumbled into the DCSS subreddit to yell at me. A game that I don't think he even plays. Oh, yeah, Eric is he's deranged. He's a very bad writer. Just very, very bad, and I've seen screenshots of him bragging about how he purposefully puts far less, what did he call it? I think he said something along the lines, this is not verbatim, but it was something on the lines of far left subversive writing into CDDA to piss off right-wingers. And I'm thinking like, man, what if you didn't use your game as a soapbox? What if instead you just tried to make a fun, playable, nice product that everybody could enjoy? And it seems like an especially shitty thing to do in like an open source game. You know, like if it's your own little project, then that's different, I think. But to take something that is ostensibly, not really, but ostensibly open for everybody to contribute to, and then make it your own little political soapbox, I mean, fuck you. Yep, no, I agree entirely, Flight. Open source always gets... Here's the funniest thing. When it comes to these games, what happens is some really clever guy has a focused vision on the game that he wants to make. In CDDA's case, it was Wales. I think that was his name. And in DCSS's case, it was Lindley who made Crawl in the first case, Lindley's Dungeon Crawl. And then very slowly, what happens at first is that like a sort of entourage of very interested nerds comes in and says, wow, what a cool project. Oh, but let's do open source. Let's contribute. We're contributing. And then as that becomes a social group, the demons show up. You know, the people who I like to refer to as demons wearing human skin suits. They show up and they co-opt the project. They worm their way in. They perform a little thing called entryism. They take over. They install more and more of their own people. And suddenly what was once a video game meant for people to have fun with and to be the best game possible becomes a political pile of shit that is a thinly veiled engine to push whatever wacky social issues that these people want to push. And that's what happened to DCSS, and that's what happened to, I mean, you got clinical narcissists involved in both projects now that are basically running the show. I used to call some of them missing stairs, if you've heard that phrase. Because it's impossible to dislodge these fucking people once they have power. And unfortunately, that seems to be the way that Caves of Quud was Caves of Cud was not something that followed that path. That was run by insane people from the very start. That actually is not an example of what I'm talking about, although it is an example of of insanity. Ouch, that's big damage. Why am I trying to melee a Naga warrior? That's right. You've been knocked back, boy. I found a file of floods. Or is it feel? I think it's file. It's been a while since I've had to say that word. That'll knock enemies back. It'll also, File of Floods is also interesting because it can silence enemies as well. Yeah, no, that's the thing, is they're playing for power, and you're playing because you like video games. So you're not playing the same game, so to speak. You are automatically at a disadvantage if you don't understand what these people are doing. They don't give a fuck, really, about whatever game or project that they've infiltrated. They care about pushing an agenda. And until you realize that and put effort into combating that exact thing, you will always lose to these people. When you recognize what the enemy is, only then can you actually do something about it. Profit with your product and game. Well, that's why I very quickly decided not to make a fork of DCSS, because I realized, one, I can't really make money off of this. Like, nobody's going to pay money for it, even though I legally could. And number two, it's just like, network effects are huge. Once people have control over the initial version of a product and all of the SEO associated with it, like all of the websites, the Reddit, subreddits, things like that, good luck dislodging those people. It's like a bad penny. You just can't get rid of it. They'll have power forever. Like when I took over the Enter the Gungeon subreddit, the only reason I was able to do that was because in their infinite hubris, they abandoned the sub and stopped checking the mod mail, and privated it and basically tried to ruin it. And Reddit itself stepped in and told them to go fuck themselves. But that was just pure hubris on their part. You wouldn't have been able to dislodge them no matter how badly they screwed up, you know, the moderating of that place, and no matter how like hardcore political shit they put in there, you never would have been able to dislodge them, except they just basically threw it all away. Hey Versaire, you caught me in the middle of a political rant. How you doing? No, exactly, Flightbird. It's too niche, and I mean, you could rebrand. I think that if I had any criticism of B-Crawl, it would be the fact that it has crawl in the name. Dude should have named it something entirely different and just called it its own game, and tried to redo all the tiles as much as possible. But now he's forever in the shadow of DCSS, and that's a game that you just don't win if you're going for popularity. But I get the feeling that BH Oth, he probably doesn't care about that stuff. He just wants to make he's one of the old school nerd type guys, and I say nerd lovingly here. It's not pejorative. Who just wants to make a goddamn game. Like, he's not interested in the politics. He just wants to make a game, which is very respectable. Hey, we burned the tree down. We have clouds. Sick. But yeah, he just wants to make a damn game, and that's great. But unfortunately, it's hard to win, because it's, like I said, it's just a different game being played by the two parties. So some stair dancing here. It's hard to adapt to this behavior because it's so sociopathic. You know, These people just want power. It's all they care about. Methuselah. Politics has been injected into DCSS by the current crop of devs for the past, I don't know how long. Recently they removed all of the negative mental conditions as possible names for items, because you might offend somebody. So it's both happening now and it was happening before. What was the batch of names that they removed from artifacts? Because it was like, oh no, it was like the whatever of schizophrenia and things like that. All media is really propaganda. I don't think it has to be. I really don't think it has to be. Oh, the things I would say if I wasn't on Twitch.tv, where I get banned for saying anything to the right of Karl Marx. I wish Vainglory was here so he could, Quad9s was here so he could, could enjoy the fact that I said the magic phrase. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, you just, you know, it's, I was talking about this earlier with China. China's hard power versus America's soft power. Fuck me, I just messed up bad. Okay, good. Fear worked. I shouldn't have let that guy get next to me. Once upon a time, that would not have been a bad thing for him to be next to me, as long as I wasn't actually constricted yet. Say the line, Bart! Yeah, Methuselah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I wouldn't say this is political, but it is like a dumbing down of the hobby. Let me show you something stupid. Okay, so actually, let me show you an example first. This is how DCSS used to be. Do you see these awesome little flavor texts at the bottom, which are quotes kind of out of the mainstream, or like old, high-minded type stuff, like the type of shit that you might hear Captain Picard quoting, circa 1960, Lord Thomas and Fair Annette, English traditional ballad. Kind of interesting, right? This is the kind of thing that you were supposed to see in Crawl. Nowadays, let me show you a more recent one, you know, from the current crop of devs. Oh, let's just go to that swiftness spell. Oh, cool. Let's just put a. Oh, so funny. Haha, too fancy weed store. Just hit the bricks. Listen, the share zone is funny. Doesn't belong in Crawl. Yeah. Yeah, right. That was pretty much my reaction, Loveworm, when I read this. I mean, this is just not the kind of thing that is supposed to be here. Source, Twitter. That's some fucking Twitter account with a guy who thinks he's extremely hilarious. Which, I mean, can be. It's just a joke Twitter account. That's all it is. Slightly cringe, yeah. It's a meme thing, yeah, and it's just like, I'm not saying that Crawl has to be this super mega serious thing, but there's a certain gravitas that the game used to have that is extremely lacking now. It's a farce that makes the game more of a farce. I mean, yeah, I mean, and I get it. Like, okay, it's a video game; it doesn't have to be super serious, but there is such a thing as a theme or a what's that word in movies and media where it's you know, the feeling, the overall feeling that a piece of media is supposed to have. A mood, I guess that's tone. Tone is the word. Thank you, Mr. ESL man who knows my language better than I do. Tone is the word that I was thinking of. And when you put shit like that into a game like DCSS, you are taking a dump on the tone. Groove. Yeah, the groove. That's what I meant. The groove. Hello, Wand of Charming. Oh my god. Is that French? It's not one of the languages that I... That's not one of the languages that I know a handful of phrases in. I I can say very important things in Russian. Koshka na stolye. I can say more things in Spanish, but not many. I'm no longer immersed. It's funny because my first fantasy novel, the first book in the trilogy, actually is called Chateau Cascade, which would imply that I know something about French, but I don't. Can't speak Russian, that's politically incorrect. Oh man. Some guy came into the Enter the Gungeon, the Roguelites Discord today and basically said that anybody who supports Russia is a Nazi. I mean, that's the level of discourse that we've reached in the year of our Lord 2023. Hello, Amulet of Reflection. Hey, baby. So that actually will give us, hold on, let's drop the Amulet of Regen. That'll give us 5 points of SH. No, these people are so hysterical that one of the first things they did was ban Russian cats from competing in competitions. Like, what the fuck, man? I tell you, these people talk a wonderful game about inclusion and let's not be racist and oh my god, diversity is great. But the second that they were given societal permission to be hardcore racist against Slavic people, and especially Russians, they just jumped at the opportunity. Which tells me they don't actually believe in shit. They just like berating people and having power and being powerful is what I was trying to say. Virtue signaling, oh, I'm so good, you're so bad. But like the fact that they were so willing to just start shitting on Russian people, you know, as soon as society said that was a good thing to do, they don't believe in anything. They're completely full of shit. Never take them seriously. UK has athletes? I'm allowed to make that joke. I'm half Anglo. I'm really starting to be afraid for the next JO. The next Jackoff? What do you... What? Sorry, I don't know that acronym. I am half Polish, half Anglo, yeah. Into the Gungeon is a wonderful game, and I highly recommend it. Also, I apologize, Loveworm, if you were under the impression that I was half German. Can I speak Polish? I know a few curse words, but unfortunately, no. That is a language that I'd like to learn a little bit more of, for sure. This is the end vault. Yeah, no, I mean, I've spent a lot of time shitting on mainline crawl, but I gotta tell you, I really like these new wall tiles. What's going on, Versailles? Huh. Well, I mean, I think the goal is to confuse people as much as possible. I've known the word for ass in Polish since I was a little kid. It's dupa, apparently. I know a lot of food names because we ate them on holidays, you know, like pierogi and kluski. We had that all the time. That's kind of like a noodle with cottage cheese type dish. Everybody knows what pierogi are, I hope. Malcolm Ass in Polish, Rose Gaming. Correct. That's who I am. Polish for cat? What is? Malcolm BLM Rose Gaming. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of organizations that take a bunch of donations and then buy mansions with them. Oh, I see, because I named my cat Pierogi. Now, pierogi, that is my favorite food. They could be made about 1,000 different ways, and I have never met anybody who makes them quite the same way that my family does. I'm convinced that my family specifically set it up to where, like, they could be used as a very clean lunch, you know, for people who are working. I know that's not unique to the left, but what BLM, the political organization, did was especially shameless. They, like, have you seen, like, Google BLM Mansion, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, they didn't even try to make it look on the level. Oh yeah, no, I don't, trust me, I don't think that greed is an invention of the left. I am well aware of how the so-called right in America plays money games as well. I mean, that's the thing, is we don't, you know, we like to pretend that we have a right and a left in this country, but the truth is, it's like, what we have is a uniparty. None of these people give a shit about the things, the silly little social issues that people are so distracted by. You know, they just want to make money. And they don't care if there are horrible consequences for you in the process of making that money. People hear me dogging on the left so much and they think I'm like a hardcore Republican, but I'm not, you know. I just have noticed that the left has way more power in America, and especially on the internet. Some people do care, but I think for the most part it's bullshit. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule. Well, I don't know, it's like some of these people, you know, for example, that Reddit protest where they were ass hurt about the API prices raising. You know, the fact that they immediately stood down instead of deleting their accounts when Big Daddy Reddit showed up and bent them over the table and said, open up the subs or you're going to lose your moderator positions. The fact that they just gave up at that point tells me that, you know, they care about power more than they care about whatever they're pretending to care about. And that's just kind of like an example of how people are completely full of shit. Oh man. I'm using the file of floods. Good luck casting when you're waterlogged and drowning. I was a little worried about him doing funny things. Yeah, well, Alderine, that's the thing, is they had to. They were not really given a choice. You know, they were forced into their own location. I guess necessity is the mother of invention after all. Yeah, Methuselah, I can get behind that. I mean, well, the powers that be have figured out that they can splinter the population in 1,000 different directions by pitting men against women and by pitting various groups against other groups. I think that the media in this country, for example, does more to create racial unrest, for instance, than the real world ever could. Like, I'm an old man. Shit. I'm an old man, and I remember race relations in the 90s. They really weren't that bad. And suddenly it's like, oh my god, America's so incredibly racist. Like, it was around the same time that the media started, you know, ballooning everything into more than what it was, you know? I'm still at a loss as to how white people somehow got blamed for, the whole what was the Trayvon Martin thing, when it was what was that guy, I think he was Hispanic in ethnicity, and somehow it was that white people are racist and there were no white people involved in the situation. And I remember that was the first time I'd ever heard the phrase white Hispanic, and I was just thinking, what the fuck is a white Hispanic? What is that? I've never heard this phrase in my life. Someone tell me. Well, I mean, I mean, that's not even a, that's barely even a reference to Nazism. I mean, it's just, you're right. No, that's absolutely right. It's a propaganda thing, Methuselah. It 100% is like everything you see and hear in America is propaganda. You might as well call it state media. And the funny thing about the left and the right in America is that neither one seems to realize that whether you're watching CNN or you're watching Fox, both of those might as well be arms of the intelligence agencies in America. You're not really getting as much of a difference there as you think you are. It's worth noting that Fox is owned by people who are open borders, so pro-open borders, I mean, I don't know. Okay, so I'm just kind of playing this on autopilot. Looks like I remember how to play crawl, guys. I'm luring things out a little bit at a time. Yeah, I am sorry about the the political rant. What's my strategy here? Let's have some tutorial here as well. Fair enough. So this is what's called an end vault. Whether you are a caster or not, you'll pretty much want to do it the same way, which is I am exploring into it, waiting for a couple things to come out, and doing my cute little go around the corner deal. Irradiating, something I wanted to show off was if I press X now and look at him, yes, if I press X now and look at him, it says misshapen and mutated. That means his AC is nuked, and I think it may even, reduce their spell power, yeah, their spell power, accuracy, etc. I think it may even reduce their MR. But the -8 AC is absolutely massive. Like, imagine if you, the player, lost 8 armor class. That's a lot. Sometimes I'll shout, let it all out. To pull things, that's TT to make that happen. You're getting attention. Oh, baby! Why didn't my screen flash? Fuck you. If I hold shift, apparently I remember how to do that. If I hold shift and click the right bracket, Loveworm, that is just a type of mutation for the player. It's a completely different thing. Misshapen and mutated is specific for monsters. The armor fits poorly. I think halves your base AC if I remember correctly. Anyway, we got a rune, the stealth shouter. Oh, I'm sorry, was that loud in the microphone? I apologize if so. 15 runes run. Yeah, we may very well do 15 runes. It may happen. I don't know, Flight. Do you care? Do you want to see a 15 rune run? Shall we do it? You only need 3 to win the game, but God, the server's laggy. Whatever you want to do, I'll probably do 15. Why not? We can see exactly how much they've totally fucked up the extended game. Methuselah, thank you for the follow, my friend. Okay, I need to drop more things. Christ, my inventory's a mess. You know what? We're gonna finally drop the Wand of Flame. Bribe money. Hey, I appreciate money. That is, I am grateful. I mean, it is kind of interesting. Like to this day, people still talk about me on Reddit, on the DCSS Reddit, which tells me I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass. I'm just saying that tells me that at least some percentage of the player base wants to hear from me, and the fact that they just kind of unilaterally chose to ban me from everything is really unpleasant and unfortunate. You know. Nobody ever told me that, like, having unpopular opinions was against the rules. The cult of Malcolm Rose. I wouldn't call it a cult. I think I just make useful tutorials, that's all. Alright, so, listen, I'm not gonna wear this robe. I know, it'd be nice to have a spell power boost. Arc Magi is great, but this is what I call a trap. Let's say it's inspired by Doom. because I don't get it. I'm not intending to get sued by the people who own Doom. It is inspired by Doom. But yeah, I mean, okay, so here's why I'm not going to wear this robe. First of all, the -2 int isn't great. The Archmagi, I would really like to have that. The RN Plus is okay. I mean, it's better on something that's not a gargoyle, but it's nice to have. But Rampage is a trap. It says it bestows 1 free step when moving toward enemies. You know what this should be called instead of Rampage? It should be called, Oops, I stepped over the staircase. Oops, I'm now not on the staircase. Oops, I'm trapped in the corner. Oops, I'm getting pounded up the ass by these 17 enemies. Don't wear something with Rampage. This is what's called a trash item. Anyway, sad that this Foosh's jewelry boutique did not have any artifacts. That's okay. Everything that messes with your mobility is dangerous. That is a very articulate and accurate way to put that, Alderain. I agree. Grincham, I think that may be what happened. They were like, "Whoa, let's write this code that'll make you move twice sometimes. This would be fun." Yeah. Almighty Foosh. 500 gold coins. You ain't seeing copper one, you slattern. All right, let's hit up that swamp, which arguably I should have gone into first, but oh shit, it's the perfect moment. Oh. Oh, wait a minute. Can we do it now? Can we get in here, get the job done? With this ghost. Oh man, big AC, big EV. I shouldn't have done this. I still don't have the tools to kill it, really. Maybe. Yeah, that's like no damage, holy shit. I just really want these ambrosia potions, you know? Oh, there's enchant armor. There's all kinds of stuff in here, man. How could I say no? A man's got a drink. Ayo, that's right. I'm just cheesing. I'm just like stealing all this stuff. I'll leave the gold, it's fine. But yeah, I just wanted to grab those things. I can't say no. Okay, I remember this being dangerous. Yep, he has BVC. Yum, yum, yum. BVC so scary. If I do this, this will not do what I wanted it to do. How about a starburst? I'm trying to make steam to block the line of sight. There we go. Yum, yum, yum. Fireball so good. Got him. It's a little bit spooky that I'm making so much damage here, but, excuse me, making so much noise here. You know, we only have one way in, one way out. That could have possibly ended in us having to use some kind of resources to unscrew the situation, but the fact is that we're just like a walking one-man army of fireballs here. Feels good. Feels good, man. I didn't expect this to become Mr. Fireball, but as long as it's still working. Also, we could go down the... No one wants the vaults in the swamp. That's true. We could go down the Orb of Destruction path still. That would do things like take out that ghost I was having a problem with. Grenade launcher gargoyle based. What the fuck is this? Oh, this is the thing that Oh, it deals acid damage. Uh-oh. He saw... No, okay, so the word vault in DCSS, I've used that a few times over the last few sessions. There is a branch called the vaults, but when I say vault singular, what we mean is... it is like okay, so you know how the game is procedurally generated? Well, a vault is a chunk of the dungeon that is not really procedurally generated itself. It is plopped down in the otherwise procedurally generated dungeon as kind of a... like putting a piece of a puzzle into a jigsaw. Like a modular component. So this is a vault right here. Huh. Look at that Heppel altar. Null Fortress is a vault. There you go, yeah. That's a good example of one. Oh, I didn't have any RC up, so bog bodies are still kind of a problem. Hey, buddy. Are you guys Vuln Fire by any chance? Yeah, you are. Yeah, set piece. That's a good phrase for it. I like that. I should have been using Starburst there for more damage. Okay, we're gonna pop on the scroll, excuse me, the ring, not scroll, of resist corrosion. We're gonna take these gentlemen down. That would have been an annoying thing to deal with, probably, earlier on. 10 of Tremor Stones. Probably will never end up using that, but maybe. Not a big fan of it. A bit hard to use properly. But, hell, we'll take Evocations of 5, why not? Anyway, this is a Transporter Vault. Melchor's Ghost is here. He's got Malign Gateway, I really don't want to have to deal with that. There's a Spectral Hydra. What kind of scrolls are in here? Lignify Potion, Scroll of Identify, Potion of Attraction, don't care. Maroon to Demon Blade. Whoa! Okay, whew. I just almost walked in there. Didn't want to do that. I see we've got an Artifact Ringmail. That almost makes me willing to check it out. That could be like endgame, super mega awesome type stuff. Probably not. Artifact Ringmails tend to be garbage, but it could. Could. Exit of this thing is in the bottom right. God damn it, but I just can't deal with the Malign Gateway. That'd be so annoying to deal with. Is all this stuff speed 10? Finstrider Witch. Can they see Invis? I don't want to burn my potion. They can, yes, and I don't want to burn my potions of Invis. I'm mostly concerned about this guy popping open a Malign Gateway and ruining my life. Really obnoxious spell to deal with. The Ringmail is the only reason I'm even considering going in here. We have 5 haste. I could just pop one on and maybe like wear the cold resist probably for the bog body. Can we still not be slowed? 1% slow. Why not press on a little more? We could. It's not like I'm languishing. No, we could crush the rest of Swamp. This is 100% the wrong move. It's 100% hubris to go in here right now. There is no particularly good reason to force it. at least until I finish Swamp, but that armor could make me capable of going straight into Elf, or it may make my life easier in Vaults. So, I mean, I gotta tell you, it is tempting to go ahead and grab. But do we need it to finish Swamp? No, we don't. Like, if it had, like, MR and some resists on it, that would be some chef's kiss type stuff. And it actually could help at in the end vault of in the final floor of Swamps 4. No, Loveworm, I couldn't because these fucking assholes took that out of the game. Wouldn't that be cool if they kept that in, which was a very cool item and exciting and really, really useful? That does not exist anymore, my friend. Oh no, that's fine. I'm going in. Oh, I didn't know he was going to be right there. No, that's okay. Bunyip. Okay. What are the chances of me charming this guy? Low. I know, he's got great flavor. It was just very useful in the orb run. Okay, we have a copy of Milkor now. I had to pop on my other Ring of Magic Resistance and wear it instead of Evasion because I didn't want to get slowed by the Bog Body, but now I'm kind of wishing that I had more defenses. Let's do this. Okay, there's been no Eldritch yet. Malign Gateway, whatever the fuck it's called. My copy of Melkor made by the Phantom Mirror is still holding up. Let's do this. I don't like that this Bunyip is alive. I'm actually gonna go ahead and hit my own dude because I cannot irradiate again without kind of messing up my own. Oh, wow, he also has summon horrible things. I didn't even see that. We may need to teleport out of here. I can't irradiate again without giving myself Contam, probably, so... Oh, no warning on hitting my own dude, huh? It's fascinating. Shimmers and vanishes. Yeah, we don't want to be malmutated. $96 damage, huh? Cannot really malmutate him. Later ho, yeah, he does seem to have some later hosen on, doesn't he? He's quite the Bavarian. My Contam had worn off a little bit. Malign yodeling. He has not started yodeling just yet. God damn, great time for the server to lag. Okay, we have enough mana for one more Irradiate, but not a Starburst, which is unfortunate. I'm going to try the Tremor Stones here. Burst of Rock Shards. We have enough AC that I'm not too worried about the Hydra doing shitloads of damage to me. Yep, Tremor Stones, it's new. Have you not seen these, Gridgem? It kind of like, I don't know if I can even describe exactly how it works. Basically, you get 2 charges of them, which recharge with experience. They land slightly off target. And they just kind of blow up around you really, really randomly. So I hate using them, But in this particular case, I did, because I was just so surrounded by things, and it worked out okay. Oh, you were suggesting it, I see. Well, we took out all the enemies. We're out of mana now, though. Oh no. What the fuck? The portal's right next to me? Yeah, you really don't want to get hit by that. Blink if I have to. I'm just going to burn Wand of Light on this thing. Wow, it just didn't want to... Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. Well... I didn't want to have to burn Blink, but it is what it is. Wow. Oh my god. Okay. Burned up all of our light. Wand. This is the RNG, man. You gotta assume that things will go poorly. And that's okay. He had big defenses. We're gonna just wait around. Yeah, I don't know if they're capable of doing that, Flightbird. I mean, in theory, it's like technologically possible, but I feel like they'd have a hard time doing that without the server owner's permission. That's also a thing where it's like, I don't think Floorline would go along with that. He's one of the few non-completely insane people in the Curl community, and he runs the server, so... No, Gridgem, I did not. And I agree with you, that would have been the move. I mean, I am surprised that they haven't simply banned me from the leaderboards. Without even bothering to really give an excuse. I'm waiting for all his summons to go away. Alright, this time I will use one of my giant stacks of brilliance. And wow, we do way more damage. I mean, that's the thing, is like... I saw this image the other day. I call them smuggies, of a very smugly drawn, oh, fuck me. All this for a MR minus ringmail? Cucked. No, I agree, that was done poorly. I should have used brilliance beforehand. Yeah, the MS Paint things. And so it's like this really smugly drawn guy, and they have little captions on there, right? And it was, the caption for this one was, oh, you mean that what you said isn't you mean that what you said isn't racist? Oh yeah? Well here, let me change, hold on while I change around a few definitions. You're racist now. Haha. You know, and that's kind of how these people operate. It's just, you don't really, there's no way to defend yourself because the fucking goalposts change every single day to wherever they want them to be. Like I was saying earlier, somehow meritocracy has become racist. It doesn't really make sense, but that's the thing, it doesn't have to, because they could just ban you from everything. Apologize. Anyway, I said that was the wrong move. I did it anyway, because I knew it wouldn't outright kill my character. But with that said, you know, I knew better. I was punished. I burned myself out of a blink scroll for that, and I got absolutely nothing of value out of it. I got information, I guess. Always be cautious in this game. If you can't decide what to do, be the biggest little bitch in the world, and don't take the risk. I mean, ultimately though, that was 100% my fault, because I should have, I should have used Brilliance first before I went in there the first time. I've talked so much crap about Brilliance, but it would have genuinely been useful there. For spell power, actually. If you're not first, you're last. That's true. If I'd had the potion, I would have been smart enough to do it. Oh yeah, these guys are immune to fire. They're resistant. They got that marsh light. Okay, they can be killed with fire. Not immune, just resistant. Do we just find a book? Did I see a book? I guess not. But yeah, you can basically dab on this branch with Fireball. Gotta be careful in some spots, but for the most part, do a good bit of dabbing. Hello, melanoma. This thing can do like 75 physical damage to you with Splinter Spray. And it can heal itself if it's next to a tree, so something to keep in mind. Luckily, we're not big environmentalists over on this channel, so I can just burn the trees down with my fireballs. Oh yeah, no. If you have low AC, it does full ass damage to you. Not good. You know, I think it's fine to care about the environment. I just hate how dumbed down it's been. We're all concerned about, like, oh no, it's a little too hot. How about we care about the fucking, you know, the stuff that's being dumped into our water? You know, forever chemicals, otherwise known as PFAs, which pretty much don't degrade in the ecosystem naturally. And they just kind of go through the water cycle and so on and so forth. Phthalates that's in like all of our plastics and even silicone, BPA and equivalents, any kind of bendable plastic. You know, you wonder why people have such low testosterone, men have such low testosterone these days. Could it possibly be all the shit that's in our water supply? I don't know, maybe. Hey buddy, you have Magic Dart and Fireball. I have learned Orb of Destruction. Got him, blew him up. Coins go everywhere. Poison papers, I don't care about that. Suddenly we can kill ghosts because we have Orb online. That's what I'm told. That's what I'm told, Flightbird. Okay, we're gonna go like full on lazy skilling. I'm just gonna turn fighting to 15, armor to 15, dodging to 10, conjurations to 20, and we'll finish out fire at 14. Is this optimal? No, I just don't need to pay that much attention to it. Another MR minus armor, sure love that. Got the big damage now, baby. The further the orbs travel, the more damage they do. Boom! You blow up the bog body. Yeah, baby! Did I pick up more scrolls? Oh yeah, this is a new... Let's get some new summons. Oh shit, we might actually grab Summon Forest. That's a handy one. Turns all forest all tree tiles into things that will whip your enemy's ass for you. Summons a few more trees, summons a dryad, and basically the trees will then like send out vines to drag things to the trees so they can do even more damage. We'd have to learn some translocations though to make that really work. Summon Mana Viper is also a really good spell. Summon Cactus Giant, like I said, is new. I think they stole this from Final Fantasy. Big Thorns, I guess. To Forest Color, yes. First you burn the forest down, then you plant some trees. We may go in that direction. For now, I think we're just gonna be Mr. Blaster. Gotta be careful with these balls of destruction because they can kind of loop around and kill me. Yeah, Orb of Destruction, they nerfed it in an unfun way. Oh, by the way, a cute little trick for dealing with these mangroves. The grasping roots can't affect you if you're over deep water. So if you have permanent flying like I do, that's one way to deal with it. Or flying potions you can also use. My audio has been clipping. Subtle, but it's there. Am I like cutting in and out? It's this fucking cable. That's really unfortunate. Has that been happening on other streams as well? Oh, peaking. Peaking. Okay, so it's not clipping, it's peaking. Let me, Here, I'll turn myself down a little more. That should stop it from happening again. I'm gonna be very careful of that from now on when I stream. The peaking makes it clip. That makes sense. Sorry about that. Clips off of the audio signal at 1.0. That makes sense. Whoa, hold on. New Louise tile. Let's take this fella up. You have a tower shield. You will probably block... You'll probably block my orbs of destruction. They can be blocked by shields. Let's, 23% chance to petrify. Let's see if we can't just fireball her to death. Yeah, Flightbird, I made a video a while back bitching about my ban, which was very low effort. I just kind of like made a quick script and put it together. But, yeah, a deep dive would be kind of interesting on the history of DCSS and how exactly it was co-opted by miscreants with a political bone to pick. Yeah, DCSS considered harmful. Hey, yo, that's right. You know what? I'm getting rid of the Wand of Disintegrate. I just can't deal with my inventory being so junked up. I don't need Ring of Wizardry. That just increases chance to cast a spell, and we are not hurting for that. Although Ring of Wizardry can be useful on other characters in certain situations if you really need to get a spell online. I mean, honestly, if you were in the Roguelikes Discord and you were if you just had access to the search thing, unless, for example, Gamafunk has deleted the things that he's written in there, like that is a guy, for example, just one example, who completely and totally bullies the shit out of anybody who says anything he doesn't like. Considered harmful. Well, I only know about that because that's like an old computer science thing from it was called goto considered harmful. Goto is a, I guess you could call it a mechanic in old programming languages, and some that are still used. PHP has goto, where you simply shunt the operation of the program to any line you want to. It was basically telling people, hey guys, stop using goto. It makes your code completely fucking unreadable. So I was pulling out my crystallized CS knowledge. What am I doing? Why am I just fighting with Jorgen around? What the fuck am I doing? This is like the most dangerous enemy in the game. 3d28, that's 90 damage possible. This seems like a good place for fog. That didn't work. Fighting with Jorgen considered harmful. Yeah, no, I shouldn't be fucking around here. Let's do File of Floods on him. So he can't cast on me anymore. I'm still constricted. Can I walk out of this? No. There we go. Got the cast. I got the walkout. Fighting with Jorgen considered harmful. He's got that manlet rage. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? How the fuck is he still alive? Alright, that's fine. Teleport. There we go. Good telly. Could he LRD me when I'm a gargoyle? You know, yes. I think so. That's a good question. Yeah, it's a monster only spell, I think. I think they completely took it away. I know, right? I mean, maybe, I don't know. Well, they made it not do damage to walls a long time ago. Oh boy, this guy is, what a nightmare. Let's just say he could do 90 damage a turn to us. I'm shouting, I'm doing TT. Hello. Oh man. Shit. So I wanted to get over this deep water, yeah? So he can't grasp me. There he is. He can still do some really nasty things to me, but he cannot root me. Okay. That was a high roll. Piss. We've got to use silence because if he in fact can LRD me, don't make this a death tutorial. Yeah, let me ruin my streak by fighting Jorgen for no reason. I don't remember if he can LRD gargoyles or not, but I'm not going to take the risk. I think what we're going to do is we're going to use a silent scroll. He can't fly. Hits for 38. Yeah, absolutely pretend that he can. Literally the only sane thing to do here is to silence, because otherwise, if I were to blink, I could end up here, and if he can in fact LRD me, I just die. We could I should have hasted, by the way. It was insane for me to fight him without haste. Silence is the only way to guarantee we don't die. I could... The thing is, like, I could use a Gozag potion petition, but I have that thing that makes me less likely to be healed very much by potion, so I really don't want to do it. So big mistake here was not hasting first. We're gonna read silence. We're gonna take a step away. He was not able to follow. He can't really do shit to me right now. Let's make a little friend for him to play with. Okay. He's in his tile of steam, so he's taking a little bit of damage every turn. That's nice. The silence affects me and him at least one more turn of him in that. It's getting... The range is getting smaller each time. Another stupid thing I did is like, why the fuck didn't I throw Curare at him? What am I doing? Wow, let's throw a net on him. Let's miss him with a net twice in a row, like a true champion would. I'm drinking heal wounds. I'm just making myself not able to die instantly. And there we go. My Jorgren beat up the bad Jorgren. Good Jorgren wins. One might say that Jorgren rocks. Alrighty, so I pooped myself a little bit there. You know, made some real bad mistakes. It's been a while since I've played, and so I kind of underestimated a very big boy threat. Yeah, always be willing to burn an important resource to deal with Jorgren. That is one of the hardest and most dangerous uniques in the game. I should have hasted. Frankly, I shouldn't have taken the fight at all, but if I was going to, I should have hasted before I did it and treated it like the top tier encounter that it is. But this is what happens in DCSS. You start getting into a groove where you're just kind of wrecking everything, and then you don't pay too much attention when the big boy damage arrives. Why don't we be smart? Don't be stupid. Be a smarty, and chant your ox slots. This way we have a little more AC on hand. Yeah. I was saving all those for the kite shield, but, you know, I've decided I need help right now. No Bandita. I agree. Those Goliath frogs can hit you from a couple tiles away, but I don't have to be too worried about it. Frog looks pretty jank. I do like the new Hydra tile, though. You know what? I don't need to worry about being slowed down in here. You know why? Because we can fly. Ack. Thought for sure that Hydra would die, and he's chosen not to. How obnoxious. No mana. Okay, we're good now. Okay, that's pretty annoying. I have not used Gozag's powers even once this game. I like to avoid it if I can. So we can just save up tons and tons of gold for bribes later on. But if we need it, we'll do it. I hope you guys enjoyed that I just whipped that guy to death with a with 0 maces and flails. I mean, especially if we're gonna do... Listen, if we're gonna do extended, I really would like to have bribe money for extended. If we can get away with it. Now, if we were playing a god that was perhaps a little more directly suited for casting, we would maybe have to do a little less stair dancing because we'd have means of getting our mana back. But I'm just proving to you that you don't have to play a quote-unquote caster god just because you're playing a caster. Hell, if I need to, I can use Potion Petition and maybe I'll get some magic potions, you know? Whoa, I don't want to take a hatch. Holy shit. That could have been dangerous. Detutorializing. Indeed. Yep, I mean, that's less of a caster thing and more of just a, in general, Gozag thing, but also I can be incredibly reckless with how I'm dealing with these dragons, because guess what? I'm totally immune to poison, so... I'm fine with taking hatches into places that I've already cleared. I don't want to take a hatch into a place that's not cleared. Sorry about this lag. I'm like pressing buttons and it's not doing anything. Whoa! Hello! Hello, 27-headed Lernian Hydra. Hydras are very fast on the water, so being attacked by him is bad news. You really don't want that to happen. If you're in melee with Lernie, you're probably making a mistake. One way we could deal with her is petrification and vuln, but again, I don't really want to be next to her. How much HP? 150. Mirror would have been the best and coolest strategy to deal with her. Mirror kills her almost instantly if you roll decently. Sometimes she just eats her friend instantly, so that's unfortunate if that happens, but yeah, we had to use our mirror on Jorkran. Honestly, we could potentially Orb of Destruction her. I'm gonna try to... You know what I'm gonna do? What I should have done a long time ago. I'm gonna use Haste. And Lernie's dead. Okay. Should have also used Brilliance. Mistakes were made. Okay, we Tremor Stones. Hydras move faster on the water, something to keep in mind. Oh, no. Mirror used to be a one-time use only item that was consumable. Anyway, haste is one of the best things in the game. Treat your haste potions like they are made of gold. Just very important things. However, that doesn't mean just sit on them. Use them for dangerous uniques, rough situations. Ideally use them in advance, not 2 seconds before you're about to die. I was willing to use a resource there because, I mean, I really wanted Lernie off the table because anytime Lernie's around, she's one of those things where it's like, you really just, you really don't want her around on a level, because if you have to teleport on the level, you might just land right next to her. And then eat 27 attacks. Which, unless you're like the tankiest tank to have ever tanked, probably not great for your continued existence. Okay. I'm sad that the screen flash is gone, but okay. I'm guessing that they decided that that was going to give people a seizure or something. I don't know. Some kind of whatever. We have 2 runes now. You need 3 to get into Zot. Very rarely will you not go ahead and get both lair branches. There's like no reason not to. Those are pretty much, you know, guaranteed as your first 2, but it's not always the case. There are reasons you might want to do others first. It's not the same without the flash. Do I have to manually turn the flash on? I know I didn't turn it off, I'm pretty sure. I like that green flash. Oh no, people can't handle. I don't put it past them to remove it, yeah. Well, we can check GitHub. Anyway, right, so that's both lair branches. Totally done with swamp. Resource-wise, we're doing fine. You know, we still have 4 blinking. We've wasted a couple in maybe kind of bad damage type situations, but the game is pretty forgiving. You usually tend to have more than you need, so I'm okay with it. 13 scrolls of teleportation, that's a lot. Some fear. Fear remains useful for pretty much the whole game. Fog remains useful the whole game, even though it didn't really work out for us against Jorgrun. It was pretty good. Some vulnerability. We got haste. We got a whole pile of heal wounds. I would really like to get rid of this mutation, but you better believe I'm not going to roll the dice with potions of mutation to try to take it off. Once we get like a... If we were to get a mutation that is so bad that I don't want to live with it, like teleportitis or something, then you're going to see me playing roulette with the mutation potions. But until then, it's not going to happen. Resistance-wise, we're doing fine. We are missing RC+, which makes me a little bit sad. I mean, what can you do? Our options are hot swappable things like the staff and the ring of ice, or some leather armor, which I think I just live without. I'll just live without RC, which would make elf kind of annoying, but not really. The real question is where we're gonna go. Where we're gonna go next. This is once you've done both the lair branches, typically this is where an interesting decision point happens, where you could go straight to slime if you were feeling particularly ballsy. You could go into vaults, which is the traditional choice, or you could take a little detour into elf. The way my games usually go, if I remember correctly, is oftentimes I would do like 4 floors of vaults right now, and then maybe make my detour into elf, or go do slime or something. Big giant loot pile in slime, so you do want to go there if you can. And there's a big giant loot pile at the end of elf, so you would like to go there as well if you can. No rune in elf, but there's still loot. I would say that, you know, the smart thing is to try to think about what your character can do. You know, how are you equipped to deal with these different threats? I really don't want to go into slime because I like to have RC++ if I can, or at least RC+, and not just as a swappable, but turned on all the time. Hey, Loveworm, maybe I shut it off. I'll have to check the RC. Yeah, Noita... yeah, Noita has a ton of spells, and they combine in very interesting ways. You'll love it, man. If you like to fool around with games, like really get under the hood. Yeah, there are some new nasty enemies in slime that can shove you off the stairs. There's that what is it, the rock slime or whatever. I am aware of that, and I don't want to fool with it. But I mean, we don't have our core all the time, which we could if we swapped on the ring. But basically we just don't have the kind of things that I would want to be able to safely do slime. So as much as I enjoy doing slime first, it's a little bit crazy here. I would say for this character, elf probably makes the most sense. I think we can go ahead and do elf and beat it, because can't do the immolate trick as well. Yeah, the big meme. I like the fact that the royal jelly is the closest thing this game has to a final boss, I think. I mean, you could talk about the stuff in extended. Man, whatever. Nothing feels like a final boss the way the way that Royal Jelly feels like. It's just like super built up, and the fact that when you defeat it, you know, the treasures open up. It's pretty cool. It's the final boss for Chivia. But anyway, yeah, I think Elf makes the most sense here because we have a Radiate to do irresistible, you know, regular ass damage to any floating weapons that are there. Likewise, if we end up next to an Elf, we can do tons of damage to them fast. They're all pretty much reliant upon evasion and have low HP. So we have a lot of things. We have Fireball. We have, you know, Fireball doesn't care about evasion. Starburst does. So I think things can dodge Starburst. So that would not be a great thing to use. But Fireball works great in Elf. Irradiate works great in Elf if you can get next to dudes. We only have one charge of Digging, which is unfortunate. 2 would have been ideal to make an actual kill hole. Vaults to 4 is free. I kinda. You always run the risk of running into some really hardcore unique. Although we've already teased out Jorgren, so he's not going to be there. Khufu could show up. That'd be mildly annoying. Menace could show up, which I mean, I guess Menace could show up in Elf as well. Menace would be a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, I wouldn't say that Vaults to 4 is free. There could be liches there, things like that, I think. As far as which one would be easier, I feel like Elf is more consistent in terms of the types of enemies that show up. Like, we know the exact shit that will show up in Elf, very consistent. It's just going to be elves and some dancing weapons. I will say that the big danger in Elf is the fact that you can be shafted to the 3rd floor, and that can't happen in Vaults. You can't be shafted to Vaults 5 because there's a rune on that floor. Getting shafted into the middle of Elf 3 is a nightmare, and you really don't want it to happen, but it can. No, we're about to stop the stream, Loveworm, so I was going to do my actual regular workouts after this, but if you want to make me do something real fast, I can. Can't play around shafts, though. I mean, you can, but when you get shafted into the end vault of Elf 3, like, that is a truly hardcore, completely hardcore shit show. I mean, I'm not going to complain if you want to give me money, but anyway, those are my thoughts on where the game is going. I still think, despite the danger, we probably will go to Elf 1 through 3 because I mean, we can just wipe these dudes out really fast with Fireball. Oh, your channel point wallet. Yeah, save it for next time. You'll get plenty of use for it. Battlesphere, by the way, is another good thing for Elf because it's more completely non-dodgeable damage. So, yeah, no, thank you guys for coming by. I do appreciate it. And whoops. Uh-oh, doxed again. I do hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully next time my microphone will not act up so much. I'll keep an eye on the on the slider here so it doesn't pass into the red again. But yeah, no, Loveworm, I appreciate it. But hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Until next time, I am signing out. Did you know that there are many ways that you can help support this channel? Read about them on rosecrypto.com/support. At Rose Crypto, you can learn all about cool things like the Brave web browser, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.